Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Stalking Starship out in the wild. We're ready for this. How are you guys? Welcome. I'm trying to not disrupt your speakers too much, just in case you had it cranked up listening. Didn't want to be that guy that's like, hi, and you were cranking your speakers. I figured I'd give you a nice, soft little intro here. We're working on a countdown clock. We're trying to showing us a positive, but we're thinking the pad. We can do a little checklist here. First things first. This, of course, is hopefully going to be a test fire of SpaceX's Starship serial number 5. So we'll go through those in a second. But what they're hoping to do today is what they've been doing a lot, which is testing starships. So yeah, for those of you that are maybe uninitiated, we'll say, SpaceX has been constantly making tweaks and reiterating versions of the Starship prototype. This is known as number 5, but I'll show you here a little map. Hopefully you can read it. It is pretty small, but sorry, we don't want to block the rocket. We've learned that people do not appreciate when the rocket is blocked. So we'll have it just up here for now. But so far, the only versions, these are all the versions that have been up so far. Starhopper flew last year, almost exactly. Oh, a year ago yesterday was the short little night hop that I was at. That was awesome. And then August 27th, we'll definitely have to throw a big party because that was the big one. That was the 150 meter hop. That's the day I lost my mind in the best way possible. I just mind boggled. So yeah, so pretty cool stuff. So what we've seen since then, the Mark 1 was the one that was the display prototype at SpaceX's down at Boca Chica. They did the Starship thing last year. When was that? Like September 31st-ish or September 30th? Is there September 31st? No. September 30th or like 29th or something, or 28th. Something like that. No, it was the 27th. It was September 20. I don't know. Anyway, end of September last year, 2019, at the big event, they had the MK1, the Mark 1 prototype. They later took it out to the pad and basically just cryo tested it and let it just blow up. Then they also made Mark 2, which was simultaneously being built at the... hang on, I'm trying to make sure this is all good. Number 2 is also simultaneously being built, and that was out in Cocoa, Florida. So the two teams are building Mark 1 and Mark 2 at the same time. So this is what we're seeing here is down at Boca Chica, which is where most of this stuff now is happening. The Mark 2 site at Cocoa, Florida is no longer active at all. Since then, we've also had 2 pressure test vehicles, a serial number 2, which was using the kind of current techniques they're using for welding and stacking and all that stuff. Which pressurized. It's one of the only ones to hold up and still exist. Serial number 7, they blew up purposefully, intentionally, tested it till failure. Serial number 1 were the full-size prototypes. That blew up in February 28th. That's the one where the thrust puck failed, and it just was spectacular, and it flew really high. Serial number 3 testing error caused failure of the LOX tank. That's the one that just kind of fell over. And serial number 4 was the one that was a big boom right before DM2 on May 29th, and that was the one that... thanks to Rachel and Gene, of course, with Space Padre Island, or S Padres, you guys know them on Twitter. They had awesome slow-mo footage with our cameras here, so they got us 4K, 120 frames a second. I mean, the explosions suck, but at least if they're in slow-mo, at least it was cool, and we got really good footage of it. But yeah, it did set them back a little bit. This is the first time they're actually going to be doing really anything significant, and we're hoping to see this thing fly 150 meters in altitude really, really soon. Oh yeah, I could pull up the slow-mo. I'll do that. Let me roll that beautiful bean footage. Give me 1 second here. I will show you guys, for those of you that are not familiar, in case you're not familiar. I'm sure you've seen it. Starship explosion. I'm just searching YouTube. I'm just going to pull up a YouTube video. Look at this. Again, Gene and Rachel have gone from professional surf instructors into phenomenal professional photographers within a little bit of time here. Let me show you my left monitor. So maybe you guys remember this. This was the last real full test they did, and it was spectacular. So that was full speed. Man, I'm glad. Of course, guys, don't forget, the pad personnel are always clear for these tests. As soon as they even start flowing anything, as soon as anything is under any kind of pressure, everyone has to be a good mile and a half away. So here it is at 25% speed, quarter speed. Look at that. Yeah. Oh, man, that was unbelievable. Yeah. Oh, so hopefully that doesn't happen today. That's a big fingers crossed thing for us here, guys. We're really, really, really hoping that nothing like this happens, of course, because that's not fun. That's not the progress we're looking for. So, yeah. How is everyone doing? Are you guys excited? Are you hoping? I mean, we're obviously all hoping that this goes really, really, really well. So, it's about time. You know, they've made some massive upgrades to the launch pad and even the whole place in general. Let me see if I do. 1 second. There we go. I'm trying to see if I can fix the clock. The clock's still showing plus an hour and 17 because we originally thought it was gonna have. We just kind of set an arbitrary time earlier. So, yeah. Andrew, let me know if you can get it down to reset it. Let's set it for like, I don't know. I don't think we're releasing fuel flow yet, but we're guessing it's probably about 45 minutes, 50 minutes or so from fuel flowing to hopefully a static fire today. So, yeah, we're hoping to see the Raptor engine light up and do awesome things today. Let me try refreshing this and see if it works. That's actually not working. Hang on, I'm gonna have to do this. 1 second. Pew. And pew. There we go. I had a full... my idea didn't work. And that's showing... I'm thinking... I don't think it's an hour and 41. I think we're off still by a little bit. I need to find a better way to do this. But yeah. Yeah, it should be T-minus... We're thinking around 5-ish or something. But we're waiting to see things... now that the pad's clear. Oh, there is some condensation... We are going to have to, we're going to have to actually start doing some checklist stuff because we do know that we'll say the blocky end up. Well, on this thing, it's definitely the blocky end up. But it is blocky end up, flamey end down. We can confirm that. But we also can confirm that it is clear of pad of personnel. So the pad is clear, so we can actually go ahead and check that. And I think that's going to automatically update. Watch this. Hands-free. Automatically updating. Boxy end up, slabby end up. But yeah, there we go. Look at that. Hands-free. I love it. Thank you, Andrew. Everyone say thank you, Andrew. And of course, again, say thank you to Rachel and Jean for helping provide this awesome coverage today. We wouldn't have this great view if it wasn't for them. So let's see here. What else do we have to do today? We have to do a few things. We have to answer some of you guys' questions. Jamie, thank you. Although inappropriate, thank you for the tip. Jay Pequois, thank you for the membership. Happy hacking video vlog. Woohoo! Let's watch paint dry. Tim, you rock. This is this again is the equivalent of watching rocket paint dry. This is, although this at least is better than the fuel test. That's literally watching paint dry. At least this is fuel test with an intentional flame at the end of it. So yeah, so we are. If you notice, right below the base of Starship right now, you do see a tiny little bit of condensation. I think, or that's maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably just wrong, but it kind of looks like it. I can't tell if it's that or if it's just like the mirage effect of like the roof of shipping containers or something, you know. Hard to tell. Jared Jewell says, hey Tim, excited for the stream. Instead of P pointy end up, flaming end down, may I suggest FEFG, flamey end. Hang on, what's this say? Flamey end. I gotta move this over a little bit here. Flamey end fixed to ground. That's true. Flamey end fixed to ground. Well, yeah, flamey end. The flamey end is still down. Everything's looking good there. Yeah, dents are starting to... It does look like they are beginning to fuel, actually. They're starting to pressurize. So maybe the fuel is not flowing yet, but they're probably pressing the tanks, getting them ready. Because, yeah, people are pointing out the dents are disappearing. Isn't that crazy? You can see it smooth out. Jareth, thank you so much. Laird says, hey buddy from Birmingham, Alabama, I like the new studio. Thank you very much. I do too. It's still a work in progress. We got a little bit more stuff to do here, but it will be awesome when I'm totally done with it. Just day at a time. Every day there's still like an hour or two worth of things to do, and it's frustrating for me because I just want to be done. Zach B, hey Tim, how have you been? Wanted to see what tests you think will be coming up in the near future. I'm excited for Super Heavy, but I'm curious on how they will test it. Nose cone maybe. So what I'm thinking is going to happen. So this vehicle, again, the Starship vehicle is not only actually harder to have, it has more things that they have to prove out than Super Heavy, because Super Heavy's in essence, I mean, I dare I say it's a scaled up Falcon 9, but the process of landing it is a very similar process. You know, they're going to do, after MECO and stage separation, it's going to do a boost back burn. It can bypass a reentry burn because of stainless steel having so much higher thermal capabilities, so they can actually just aero brake enough to negate the entry burn, which is a beautiful thing about stainless steel. That's something that carbon fiber definitely couldn't do without some beefy heat shielding. Or they're hoping to. We don't know for sure, and they don't probably know for sure yet either. And then it will have a very similar landing burn, only it'll be 3 or multi-engine landing burn for the Super Heavy booster. So all of that's relatively proven out. But the upper stage here, the Starship, they have to prove out those flaps. Don't forget, this will eventually have what I'm coining, some of us have coined, Elonerons. So Elon, or instead of like ailerons or ailerons, Elonerons are those flappity, flippity, air brakety things that are stuck on the side. You can see them on Mark 1 there. But, don't forget, it has to learn how to do that belly flap maneuver, do the whole, there's a whole other, and it has to have those header tanks because it has to switch from igniting its engines while it's in the free fall / doing maneuvers, so we can't have fuel sloshing around and having the fuel pumps ingest big bubbles or anything. Don't forget, this is the world's first flight capable full flow stage combustion cycle engine with stainless steel, methane powered. There's a lot of firsts in this. So with just testing the upper stage portion of this, they really don't need to do nearly as much. They can only have 3 engines, right? They only need 3 engines working. They don't need to hire a litter. They probably won't do 31 engines on the booster right away, right from the get go. Hold on, Andrew tells me to hang on. Let me see if I can refresh the clock. Still, we're trying out some new things, so bear with me here. We might have, I might have to do just. There we go. Sorry. Okay, there we go. That's our approximation, and that seems to be about right. It does seem like we're looking at just about a 5 o'clock local time, since they are beginning to fuel up, but that might slip a little bit. This is just that's why there's the ish afterwards. Very rough idea here. So yeah. Okay, so anyway, so the by testing just the Starship portion first and proving out that not only can they kind of get more flight experience with the Raptor engine, they can learn how to work with stainless steel and work with these different all of the new things, right? All of the new things that are new to Starship, the upper stage, will also be applicable to the booster. So instead of trying to do N1 style, like when the Soviet Union had the N1, which had, was it 33 or 31? Someone remind me, or 30. Was it just 30? I think it was 30. Let's see here. Let me pull up the N1 here, because what they had to do with the N1, this was the Soviet Union way back in the day. Hang on. N1 rocket. So what's cool about the N1, and not cool, and when people compare Starship to the N1, it's too bad, because the Soviet Union, when the way they were testing back then, here, let me show you this. So I can't really click here. We'll probably just go right to the Wikipedia page or a Reddit picture. So, oh, hello. There we go. So it had, again, a ton of engines, and people will be hastily comparing it to all the engines of, Starship. See, Starship won't work because the N1 didn't work. It's like, well, the Falcon Heavy has 27 engines, and it's worked flawlessly so far. The difference with the Soviet Union's N1 and why it was so crazy is because they had, in order to test the upper stages, the booster stage had to work. So they didn't have this liberty of doing small scale testing, really, like what SpaceX is able to. So SpaceX is almost doing a small scale booster when they're developing the actual upper stage Starship. Those technologies, there's a lot of cross pollination, a lot of crossover, and it's very, very, very different, and the other thing too with the N1 at the time, the NK15s and the NK33 engines on there, they had pyrotechnic valves. So they were like basically little charge cartridges. So you could only fire the engine when you're committing to running the engine, because then after that, those valves like were done. So in order to test, they couldn't test the engines that were actually on the booster. They could test like batches from the same manufacturing process and be like, okay, this one works. Well, we'll do like 1 in every 5, and the rest of these 5 we just hope work too. That was their testing method back in the day. They didn't do static fires. They didn't do anything. So they just had to commit to flight. So they had 4 tests of the N1 rocket, and all 4 ended in spectacular failure. But the point is, sorry, long rant here. The point is, with the Starship, they can really prove it on a smaller scale and just start working on more and more engines. And once they're familiar and more familiar with the fuel up processes and the temperatures involved and all of the pressures and all of the the valves and all the different things, scaling it up to be the super heavy booster is a lot easier, because a lot of that work is done. So it's very iterative. They're working on a small scale, then scale it up to the super heavy booster, which I think they won't fly super heavy booster until the upper stage Starship is either I'm guessing the first test of the booster will also be the first test where they're really, it has to be. They can't, I was just going to say, it's like testing the reentry, the full-blown orbital reentry. I have a feeling that by the time they're ready to do that, that's also going to be the first time they fly the booster. I don't think they'll fly the booster on like a suborbital mission or anything. And I don't think they're going to want to throw away like a mass simulator or anything like that. So I think the booster will fly when the upper stage is ready to do a full-blown orbital belly flop and reentry. So, yeah. So it's looking good. We are definitely seeing signs of fuel up. The denser, yeah. So that's kind of the process. So I think, hang on. Let's see, where was that? Let's see. So yeah, I think the next milestones we're hoping to see would be after this test and does the 150 meter hop, which we're hoping, that might happen this week, guys. This might be a huge week in spaceflight. We're going to see within a calendar week right now, we'll hopefully see the Mars Perseverance launch. That's happening on Thursday morning. So stay tuned. I will be covering that with you guys. I cannot wait. It's going to be incredible. I have a video out that just came out recently, Perseverance versus the Curiosity rover, because they're very similar. They're twins, basically. But Perseverance has some incredible upgrades. So definitely watch that entire video all the way through. You'll learn a lot, and I guarantee you'll be really excited, because it's an extremely exciting mission. So that's going to be on Thursday. Then Bob and Doug are coming home to end and wrap up DM2, I think on, what day is that? Is that Sunday, the 2nd? So that'll happen, and that'll be awesome. And then also, there's a chance in between there, maybe even, we'll see a freaking hop, a Starship hop, 150 meter hop with this vehicle. It does actually have little legs tucked up in there, and they pop down. So yeah, and then after that, we'll see, hopefully after the 150 meter hop, assuming it's successful, they will go on to serial number 8, I think is the next one that they'll actually, it's so hard to keep track of. Or serial number 6 or serial number 8, one of the two will be the next one to really, really, really get ready for flights. So, and those will be the ones, I think serial number 8, as far as we know, will be the one that will have the Elanerons put on it. So the flippity-flappity air brake Elanerons, and that'll be awesome. Okay, sorry, that was a long one. Leaf the Revanite. There we go. I promise, I'm the worst pronounceinator. Hoping for some exciting, but not too exciting Starship testing today. Thanks for the other perspective of today's test. You're welcome. Yeah, and we got to give a big shout out, of course, to Boca Chica Gal 2, who's with NASA Spaceflight, and Lewis from Lab Padre. It's so cool the space community's out here just, providing such awesome coverage of these things that we normally wouldn't get to see. We normally wouldn't get to see this stuff. Most of the stuff is behind closed doors, out in somewhere where we don't have access. We just happen to be lucky enough and living in a time where they're doing this all at their very remote, but yet very public place. So you can literally drive your car right next to this vehicle. Obviously not while it's testing. They close the roads. But yeah, it's pretty exciting times we live in, guys, honestly. And it's so cool that we have so many people excited and covering this stuff. So again, please send a thank you to those other channels as well, Lab Padre, NASA Spaceflight. So everybody's awesome. Don't want a copyright strike. Yeah. Again, for me, it's all it is all team space. So I'm so glad that everyone's working together on this stuff and bringing coverage. We should probably do like a multi-channel stream or something where we do like multi-cameras or something. We could probably do that for one of the bigger ones or something someday. But yeah, thank you to Leaf and Per. Thank you so much. Fred Hill, sorry late. What was the cause of the explosion? That explosion was something to do with the actual disconnects. So they had, they have these umbilicals that plug in. Something happened when it was supposed to like disconnect. They were practicing that, and after something happened, and maybe some valves didn't close or do something properly. I don't quite remember the actual root cause, but I think it was like the valves didn't close properly or something, and fuel was leaking out, and then it ended up catching fire. You will notice, speaking of fire, we are gone. We are absent of our awesome flare stack that would normally be right above my head, that would usually tell us a lot about where they're at in fueling. It is gone. They have switched to a compressor now, so they're able to keep it all compressed and liquefied using like some kind of compressor thing and not having to run the flare stack. So yeah, so it's good and bad. I think it's a good thing. Like environmentally, it's probably a good thing, although it's not that big of a deal. It's a tiny little flare stack, but also it seems safer, although it has never been the problem of anything, because it's a long ways away. It's a lot further away than people think. But it's a little bit sad that we lost a nice marker of when things are going to happen by losing that flare stack. So yeah, good question, Fred. Okay, John Hart. Hey, Tim, maybe already mentioned, but flare stack is different. Yep, they are recompressing, not releasing. Big flare won't happen, most likely before launch. Yep, good timing, John. Sorry I missed that, but yeah, you're right on the money. I'm going to see if I have the, I don't know if Colton's around. Andrew, do you want to tag Colton and see if we can get the Tomorrow Chat up? That would be awesome if possible. Give me 1 second here, guys. I'm going to prepare for that just in case the Tomorrow Chat doesn't work. I can actually put your guys' comments up on screen. Yep, so thanks for that, John. You're absolutely right. And Dimitri, would you fly to orbit for a week, to the moon for a month, to Mars for 2 years? Okay, so I think this is like a changing thing for me constantly. What's that little white thing on the COPV right now? Is that a little bit of a flare thing? Or some kind of venting? I don't remember seeing that. The little black COPV on the bottom left, kind of. It just caught my eye now. Maybe it's always been there, but it looks a little bit like a little bit of a venting gas. A little puff of something, but it's hard to tell. Really hard to tell. Okay, hold on. Let me also shrinkify this a little bit. Okay, so yeah, so I've had like a scale. I used to never ever want to do anything with space, and now like I would gladly. Now I'm to the point where I would do a suborbital hop pretty much without hesitation. I definitely think like I think I would prefer Blue Origin, the New Glenn or New Shepard. I mean, I think. Obviously, Virgin has a lot of experience now, and they're making a lot safer vehicle these days, and it definitely looks fun too. They both would be pretty awesome, but those huge windows on New Shepard look pretty tantalizing. I think that'd be pretty fun. As far as orbit, I would go into orbit now. Like I think I'm to the point where, once Dragon's like all flown a dozen times, I would definitely consider going for like a 2 or 3 day, probably 2 days if it's just in that, or a day even just in that capsule would probably be plenty. But yeah, I think I would do that. I'd maybe go to a space station for 3 or 4 days or something like that. And I'm not quite to the point where I would ever go to the moon. That's like my limit. Someday, eventually, again, if like spaceflight is super routine and it's super safe and it's just basically you get on this like space cruise ship and you get on it and you go out to the moon and there's this big dome and it's pressurized. You can flap your wings, basically like put on some cardboard wings and fly around. Like, if it's to that point, yeah, I probably would. Like, when it's regular old space tourism, kind of like the book Artemis, Andy Weir's awesome book Artemis. If you haven't read that or listened to the audiobook, you'd need to, because it's a fantastic book. And I love Andy Weir's writing because it's so rooted in science. So that whole thing is believable. And, yeah, so it'd be, they have some cool stuff kind of like that. A lot of really fun things in that book, and it's fun to imagine along. And so if it gets to that point, yeah, I would do the moon. But Mars, again, like maybe if in 60 years when I'm an old man and I'm about to die and it's like, okay, we're just going to send you off to Mars and you can see Mars before you die. Like, and then I'll retire on Mars. I'll spend my last days on Mars just seeing like, Mount Olympus or something. Maybe Maybe if there's like again tourism like setup. Like I don't want to be pushing any boundaries here. That's not me. So yeah. So we'll see. Good question, Dimitri. Thank you. Brian, thanks for the membership. The Random Tube. I did see Saturn and Jupiter from my new telescope. If you remember me from the last live streams, yes, I do remember that. You got it working. That's awesome. Congrats, The Random Tube. I'm excited for you to keep exploring space and learning more. And just, I think it's really fun. Telescopes are awesome. And this would be a good time for telescopes because Saturn and Jupiter are so visible in the northern hemisphere. And of course, you know, seeing the comet Neowise would be pretty great with a telescope. So, yeah, great thing. Raisinbot, how's it going? Do you think Starship will be ready before 2025? Oh, man. Predicting Starship is like one of the hardest things you can possibly do in life because it could go either way. It could literally be operational. It could, who knows? Like with Starship, you just have no idea. It could go orbital in a year. You know, and then it could be operational soon thereafter. Like, who knows? It could also take 5 years. This might not all happen until 2025. Spaceflight stuff is impossibly hard to predict. There's just always setbacks. There's always timelines that slip throughout the entire industry. This isn't just a SpaceX thing. This isn't even an SLS thing. Every rocket that's ever supposed to have flown on a date, like from the beginning of conception to like, we think we can get it flying in 5 years. Nope, you're getting it flying in 8 minimum. Like most of the time, double what anyone says. That's just simply how spaceflight stuff works. They obviously have some of the biggest puzzle pieces done. The Raptor engine is definitely one of the hardest puzzle pieces. Having a full flow stage combustion cycle engine is a really, really big deal. I can't express how big of a deal that actually is. And I'm still, even though, you know, I made that Raptor engine video over a year ago, and I learned a lot in the making of that video. It really got some gears working for me. But I'm still, like, having to conceptualize how all this stuff works and why it's actually a bigger deal than just a closed cycle engine. And it is. It's still another high percentage, bigger deal, especially with specific impulse, how efficient the engines are, and potentially even reusability for full flow. So, yeah, it's pretty awesome. So yeah, so there's that. So that now that the Raptor engine's pretty much, I'm gonna say I think it's almost done. Like it's testing phase where they're just constantly blowing stuff up. It really seems like by reports down at McGregor, people that are live near the test stands and stuff, it sounds like Raptor's firing like all the time now, quite frequently and quite reliably now. It's getting to the point where it's just kind of a thing. It's not like a big scary thing anymore, which is awesome. That's exactly what we want. We want to see good progress in that. So yeah, so that's good. So now that that's over, realistically, of course, stainless steel has been, it's been around for a long time. And we've used it in the spaceflight industry since nearly the beginning. Of course, famously, the Atlas Convair SM-65, the original Atlas missile, was stainless steel. And then from that, they started doing like the Atlas Centaur soon after that, the first cryogenic upper stage using, cryogenic meaning they were using hydrogen. I think that was the first hydrogen engine, at least in the United States. And that was stainless steel. They still use that today. You realize the Centaur upper stage in the Atlas V and even variations. I don't remember if they're still doing stainless steel on Vulcan Centaur. Does somebody know off the top of their head? But yeah, stainless steel is tried and true. So that's a lot less of a thing that they have to figure out, But yeah, having hot gas thrusters is probably more of a challenge. The ailerons are probably going to be pretty hard. That landing maneuver is going to be really hard. Yeah, there's other challenges, but the Raptor and the stainless steel, the things that we're really getting tested here today, are less of a challenge. And that's why it's so hard to predict, because look at this is relatively a very relatively easy thing. I'm not saying it's easy at all. And look at how many test vehicles we've seen explode still. So if this is the easy stuff in this grand scheme of things, like what's it going to be like when they really start doing the hops and the belly flops and stuff and all that? It's going to be wild. It is going to be absolutely wild. Okay. Okay, Vulcan is still going to use stainless steel for the upper stage for the Centaur 5. Okay, good question, Razenbot. Sorry, that was very long. Velocity Aerospace. Love your videos. If you had to choose, would you live on the moon or Mars, or why? I would choose Mars. So yeah, I kind of just went through a little bit of that. Sorry if it's a repeat. as far as living, definitely the moon if it had the right habitation, because I don't want to be stuck where you can't get home for like an emergency. Like even being 3 days away from home minimum is a long time. Like being 3 days away from your home planet is almost inconceivable these days of modern transportation. So if it's like a full-blown emergency, I have to get home, 3 days. On Mars, if you're at the wrong end of a transfer window, you can be waiting like a year and a half before you can even leave to go home, or an hour. Yeah, an hour and a half. Did I say an hour and a half? A year and a half, basically, before you can even start to go home. It would really suck. It would really suck, and I'm not into that. Yeah, I don't know. So the moon, again, the moon of Artemis, of Andy Weir's Artemis book. I'm not sponsored by Andy Weir. Hey, Andy Weir, if you want to sponsor everything I do, I will gladly talk about Artemis more. But everything in that book, like if the moon is like that, I would hang out there and live there part-time at least. So, yeah, we'll see. Good question. Kaylee says, flappity flippity air breakity things needs to be on a mask or something. You're right. That is definitely, it's hard to describe what they are because they aren't, people say flaps and or wings, and they don't, they're not parallel to the wind stream. They're actually perpendicular to the wind stream. So that's a big difference from a traditional wing or a flap like we think of. They're really more of giant air brakes. They deploy, they change their amount of drag. You can, of course, they are providing lift. Everything basically that produces drag essentially can have some form of lift. Like even like the Dragon capsules or the Apollo capsule. Any capsule that's gumdrop shaped like that, they'll have a center of mass slightly offset, and they can actually rotate it and help provide lift or lower their altitude using that. So, the calling them air brakes is probably the most accurate thing because, they deploy more or less to change their the attitude of the vehicle, also to change maximum braking force, also to change, you can control your pitch, yaw, and roll just through those 4 brakes. It's a pretty cool system. But yeah, they're Elanerons in my world. They're Elanerons. Fred Hill, thanks for the membership. Digital Demonic Dave Rose. Where are he? When does that? Come back here. Digital Demonic Dave Rose. Need more boiler marks makers on the job. Sure. I assume that has something to do with like where Trevor Mallman lives, the boiler makers. I don't know. I don't really know anything about that. Sorry, I don't know. Thank you, though, Digital. The Martian Engineer. Hey, Tim, love your work. I'll be posting my first ever vid shortly. I talked with the chief pilot of Ingenuity and go into engineering up by the 30th. That's awesome, the Martian Engineer. Congrats. I think if the chief pilot, I don't know about the chief pilot, but I met with one of the mission managers very briefly who is working on Ingenuity, and I think overall Perseverance, and she was awesome. I can't recall her name off the top of my head, but I was at JPL with Bobak, who you saw in my video. He's an awesome JPL engineer, and we ran into her I can't remember her name, but she's like pretty high up, and she showed us some really cool stuff. So I actually got to hold the rotors that Ingenuity has. That was really long. Again, they're like 4 feet long basically, and they're like I think they're like 120 centimeters, so 1.2 meters. And they're so lightweight that like you almost throw them. I had that experience once too with Rocket Lab's little CubeSat deployer. I forget what it's called, but again, like they have to warn you. Now, be careful. This is a lot lighter than it looks because your tendency when you see something yay big is to kind of give it some a little bit of muscle to support it, and literally it's more like someone just laying a feather down in your hand, and it's really hard to fathom. So that's super super fun. We might have to change the clock here. We're not seeing the kind of action we're expecting to see. Let's see here. Yeah, we are not seeing anything yet. So let's reset. Let's go. Let's say 5:30ish. I don't know because we aren't seeing any fuel up. And I'm gonna let Rachel and Jean know. I mean, I'm sure they obviously know. Again, guys, give a big thank you to Rachel and Jean, who are awesome and are out there filming for us. So they are just absolutely knocking it out of the park. Yep, just communicating with him real quick. Yeah, so meanwhile, we can at least watch the birds and everything. Yeah, sorry, talking with Andrew and everything too. So, yeah, it's looking like it's not going through the amount of testing that we assumed it'd be at this point. It definitely hasn't begun fuel up, so our time is way off. So I'm going to refresh the clock here real quick. Sorry, we don't have a yet. Hopefully that works okay. Give it just a second. Hopefully I didn't bonk the feed. There we go. Okay. Okay, looks like, yeah. Well, again, this is pretty arbitrary. We don't really have any idea for sure, but just we're going to set it for like 6 o'clock. We'll move it forward, 6 o'clock local central. We'll move the clock forward, our little T-minus, if we start to see something happen before then. And if it gets to be like 5:30 and nothing's happened, then yeah, then we'll move it accordingly. We're, like I said, without the flare stack, we're definitely having to wing this thing more, so... yeah, so again, good luck, the Martian Engineer. Thanks for getting some good info. Excited to see it. Starman Steve, you're welcome. Thank you. Manuel Mayer, greetings from Austria. By the way, I'm working at the development department of the company that builds nearly all the welding equipment for Starship. That is awesome. Very cool. Congratulations. And Dankeschön for the tip. I really appreciate it. And good luck with all your welding stuff. That is awesome. Cool to see it being used in the aerospace industry. Okay. Caleb, thank you for your tip. Giovanni, thanks for the pair and the #1 fan thing. I appreciate that. Philip, long overdue. Tim, thanks for all you do. You're welcome, Philip. I really appreciate that. Yeah, we're trying to get out a video here before the splashdown of DM2. We're going to have a timeline video for you, kind of like we had the timeline of from suit up to docking. We'll have docking to splashdown timeline. So it'll be pretty cool. And it will look really pretty because our editor, Andrew, is just knocking it out of the park. Okay, so thank you very much. We have pad personnel at 0. Yes, I believe. Okay, sorry. Tim, thank you so much from a fellow Tim. Thank you for the tip. Nuke Arts, we have pad personnel at 0. That seems right. I think there is officially 0 people at the pad, so we've got it cleared. That's what the little thingy over there is. So yeah. Renan Peruzolo and Dominic Kugler, thank you so much for your memberships. Philip Moyer, did anyone ever officially announce the Mach number for serial number 4's detonation shock front? No, I don't know. If anyone has, it's Scott Manley had it figured out. But wait, the shock front can't ever exceed Mach 1, right? Isn't that what the shock wave is? It's literally air not getting out of the way fast enough because it's limited to the speed of sound without like a special de Laval nozzle or something like that. I don't think you can have a shock wave at sea level, but obviously different conditions like how hot it is and all that stuff. I don't think you can have anything. The shock front's always going to be Mach 1. Like that's my understanding, at least, right? At least, let me think. Yeah. By definition, a shock front is sound. Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know how it could exceed Mach 1. There is a huge mouse or something in my new studio. It is so big. I had one the other day on Our Ludicrous Future. I caught him. He was this big. And I took him out to a nice little shed out in a field somewhere, and he was tiny. There is like a full-blown raccoon somewhere around here, or like a giant rat or something, or a squirrel. It is big, and I am I love, if it's a squirrel and it comes and hangs out with us, that'd be great. A rat, no thanks. Raccoon, maybe, although he'd get his little paws everywhere, and I don't know if I'm ready for that either. But yeah, let's see. Curious if anything can... I'm trying to see. Oh, it's true. If the cloud around it, yeah, it was already filled with like really cold air. I don't know. On the slow, yeah, you can definitely see the shock wave, but Anyway, I don't know. I definitely don't know the answer. Obviously, I'm floundering around with no direct knowledge of that. So, but yeah. All right. Anyway, Aylmar, FEFG, flamey end facing ground. There we go. That's true. That's not a bad one. Michael Petticord, can you tell us what happened to serial number 7? Why was that serial number skipped? It was kind of not skipped. It was kind of it was another one of those pressure test articles. So it has done its job. They popped that little hole. Was that the one they popped the hole in it? And then they patched it up and tested it again? I think that's right, guys. That was the one that was like, shh. Yeah. So that was serial number 7. So they didn't skip serial number 7. It just wasn't a full scale article. Hope that makes sense. Yeah. Let's see here. Gerardo Cantu, Tim, excellent aesthetics with the fully new studio. Thank you. Do you think the BFR project will be done by the date SpaceX approximates? No, because by the time Elon said it was going to go orbital, they're going to attempt orbital last year, and that was in September. Didn't he say, like, we think we can get orbital, or like, I think he said orbital, or at least like get the belly flop by the end, like in 3 months, basically. No one knows. SpaceX doesn't know, and whatever they do say, it's wrong, because things happen. This is cutting edge, pushing the boundaries, and a lot of things are new. So, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, so sorry, I'm trying to keep up with you guys, and I'm also trying to keep up with our Discord channel. Love you guys. Haven't really said hi yet, so. Dr. Raptor disagrees and says shockwave can travel faster than speed of sound. This sounds like a good debate, and I'm not a good enough scientist or a scientist at all to know anything about that. So, so thank you. I don't think it'll be done by the time SpaceX approximates at all. So, and that's not being negative. That's just being realistic. I just don't think it's really possible, unfortunately. That's just how the world works. Real quick. Someone mentioned I am doing the launch day shirts. So if you guys want 10% off of the Aerospike shirt today, that is the shirt that I'm wearing. It was the limited edition Aerospike shirt, but you can just go to Everyday Astronaut or shop.everydayastronaut.com. Click on apparel. You'll find the Aerospike shirt here. Yeah, these shirts are 10% off today if you use the coupon code LAUNCHDAY. All one word, all lowercase, LAUNCHDAY. You'll get 10% off the Aerospike shirt. And we do have some new things in the store too. We have the full flow stage combustion cycle hoodies. These are new. I'm really excited about them. They have a lot of awesome, I'm really into the little, trying to make them extra, extra premium. So they have custom hoodie strings, custom sew-in tags that are upgraded and awesome. They have obviously a print on the front and the back and on the sleeve. We have serial number placeholder and the specific impulse, the chamber pressure, the thrust. I'm really excited. I'll definitely be wearing this pretty much all year, straight. So yeah, and we also have new keychains as well. So if you guys want to get your own, go to shop.everydayastronaut.com. And yeah, again, use coupon code LAUNCHDAY at checkout for 10% off. Oh, and don't forget about the Future Martian t-shirts. This is also an absolute favorite of mine, because on the sleeve it does show you the atmospheric and gravity exact specifications of Mars, which I think is super cool. And we also feature Arcadia Planitia, which is where Starship is planning. This is their candidate landing site is Arcadia Planitia, and those are the exact coordinates for the Prime A candidate landing site on Arcadia Planitia. This is definitely one of my favorite shirts, and the last interview that I had with Elon, when the cameras went off, he really liked this shirt and was he thought it was cool. So obviously, I think it's cool too. So yeah, if you want to help support what I do, shop.everydayastronaut.com or everydayastronaut.com/shop. But whatever, same thing, same link. Thank you guys for your support. Okay, let's see. Boof asks, hey Tim, have you watched/read The Expanse? I have seen some of The Expanse. I've only seen 2 episodes. I hear it's amazing. I just, for some reason, have not. I have to really get invested in shows, and I just haven't taken that. I have not taken that leap yet. Oh man, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I will someday. I just never find time to sit down and start a new show like that. It's a very scary thing. But yeah, but I definitely need to do it. Thanks, Boof. El Guapo, Flare Stack is still there. It's off camera. Is it still there? But it's not active anymore. I think it's still physically there, but I don't think it's running anymore because they're using the new compressor. That's what I understand. But maybe in other feeds it's up. No, we're not seeing any action yet, really. Okay, so can someone confirm whether or not the Flare Stack is up? Okay, just making sure everything's good here. Anyway, okay, so who is the poor man/humanoid stand a bit to the left? Sorry, what? Who is the poor man/humanoid stand a bit to the left? Very tall man, as I can see. I'm not sure I'm familiar with what you're looking at here. That might just be lights and cameras. They do have lights and cameras on booms and a lot of things around this launch pad now. Yeah. The Flare Stack is all the way off to the right, people are saying. Okay. So yeah, so again, it looks like the Flare Stack, yeah, it's probably physically still there, but it is off. So, yeah. And I'm not quite sure what you're referring to there, but I think you're looking at some of the cameras and stuff like that, or an alien. Who knows? Thanks for saying hi, Lee. Would you leave your grandkids to see Mars? Again, I don't want to see Mars, so no. Personally, no. I mean, like, I don't have this like big desire to go to Mars. Some people do, and that's awesome. We need people to do that. I think to explore other worlds. Like on the behalf of all humans, like that's incredible stuff, but it's just not me. Like I like it here. I've said this a few times. Like I like water. I like pools. I like rivers. I like things that fly easily, like not having to use Ingenuity that can only do like 3 minutes of flight time. You know, it'd be fun to be able to fly a kite if you needed to for some reason. I like pizza and tacos and things that are here on Earth that, you know, you could probably get on Mars, but you're not just going to go out casually to a restaurant. I like, leaving my house with like barefooted, even sometimes like walking through the yard and stuff, like out in grass, is an enjoyable thing to me. So to not experience any of that would be really weird. It might be really pretty though. Let's see. Yeah. So, okay, let's keep going here. Good question, though. Marcus, thank you for your tip. Atari, Saint, Snacks, and Schlampf, thank you for the membership. Velocity Aerospace, let's see here. Velocity Aerospace, sorry, is doing that thing. Where are we? Velocity Aerospace. If you built a hybrid rocket to carry crew using any parts from any rocket, what would you use? Engine, tanks, command module. Oh, man. I don't know, Velocity Aerospace. I mean, at this point, I think if I were to start from scratch with a rocket, I still have a fondness for shuttles. I think shuttles were cool. I just wish that they had like continually iterated on the space shuttle to make it more reusable. You know, working on the heat shield, doing like a titanium series of spaceship or of space shuttle where the orbiter itself was titanium, so it had a lot higher, airframe heat loading. It wouldn't have needed those thermal blankets on top. It probably could have used a totally different heat shield for the whole bottom. Something that was a lot simpler. I really thought the shuttle was really cool. It's huge. I mean, it was a flying like mini space station that could hold another space station inside it. Like it was really, really impressive stuff. So I think I would love to see. I didn't like that the space shuttle was slung off the side of the stack of the vehicle, because that obviously puts it potentially in the way of debris strikes, which we all sadly know was the cause of one of the loss of vehicles and the crew for Columbia. So I don't like that design, but I like the shuttle itself. So I'd like to use the shuttle. It'd be cool. I do think it's time that we do like a rocket plane on top of a rocket plane, you know, almost like a Virgin Galactic, but the first vehicle is is air breathing, and then has like a hybrid engine like a Skylon or something like that, or the reaction engines Sabre engine, something like that, that's air breathing, and then either a separate rocket engine or just that closed cycles and goes into a thing, and then that turns around and flies and lands, and then there's another like space shuttle on top basically that had like a something really cool. I don't know. That's probably what I would have loved to see that, but they aren't that efficient. They're very mass constrained, but it'd be cool. I don't know. That's to me seems a lot easier to scale something up like that than it was to land a booster. So I'm really impressed that SpaceX went with propulsive landing. The cool thing about propulsive landing, though, is you don't add any additional hardware really hardly besides what it takes to actually do the landing. So like grid fins to orient using cold gas thrusters, landing legs. Obviously, there's a little bit of mass involved, but you're not tacking on huge wings. You're not tacking on anything else, other control devices. The main engine does the actual work. So that's a really cool idea. But I would like to see that design trade-off between if it could just fly and land somewhere, and just glide and land, even downrange would be hard. There's even like the Vulcan and Atlas that burn for like 4 minutes and get like 2/3 of the way to orbital velocity. Even they don't make it anywhere near like another coast. They don't get anywhere near Europe or Africa or anything like that from the United States. It's not like you're going to be able to easily recover. You still have to do a boost back burn, so you're still utilizing that fuel, unless you had a really, really, really long runway, a floating runway somewhere or something. But now we're just getting ridiculous. And yeah, there was originally some space shuttle designs that I really wish would have happened. So yeah, great question. Okay, Rob Campbell. As a person who works in Antarctica, I think that a development to Mars wouldn't be as bad as you think. I know you're definitely have to be right because you have a direct connection and expertise in this area of like setting up habitation and stuff. But I like going outside and stuff. I don't know. I'm sure it can happen. But we'll see. But Rob, that's awesome. Congrats on working in Antarctica. That sounds absolutely wild. Thanks for helping to again explore for all of humanity and help us learn. That's awesome. If you want peace, prepare for war. Interesting thing. Can you make a replica of serial number 5 in KSP? Is it possible? Of course. We actually did it last time I did a live stream. And since we're waiting, I might as well just pull it up now, right? Why not? We got nothing else to do today. We're not seeing too much progress. And I can always do it small screen too. But I can show you how this will fly in Kerbal Space Program, because it does something very unique. It does have the center of mass and center of thrust are offset. Since it's designed to have 3 engines around the center of the vehicle, or kind of, I'll show you in Kerbal. But we'll do that in a second. I'll start getting that pulled up here. Give me just a minute. I have to push that whole thing over now. 1 second. My computer is freaking out because I opened it in a totally different screen. Okay, la-di-da-di-doo. La-di-doo-di-da. Where did it go now? Come back here, Kerbal. It's very mad at me. 1 second. Where did it... Kerbal? Kerbal, where'd you go? 1 second here. I did a... Oh, there we go. I did a wacky thing and really dinkered her. It's still being really dinkery. What is going on? Get over there. Be happy in your new home, your new window. Thank you. Okay, Kerbal's getting pulled up. So we'll do that. Okay, so Ben, hello, I have a question. Do you know the Dragon that took Bob and Doug up? How will it get back? Does it have an engine on? Yes, of course. Ben, again, I'm working on a video as like tonight. I'll be scripting it, hopefully shooting it like tomorrow already. We're going to have a timeline video of how the Dragon capsule gets back from space. And so, and it will be like a timeline just like how the astronauts got into space. So we'll do something very similar to that. It should be a nice, quick, easy video, and we will show you exactly how they do it. There are, of course, the Draco engines that can do on-orbit maneuvers, and super cool stuff. And so they do run that in order to, they do have that running. Why is it showing me like, why is this not in full screen? Hang on. 1 second here, guys. It's being very funny. You're being a naughty, naughty Kerbal thing. I think it's because I tried firing it up. Hang on. Settings. I'm going to get into full screen so we can just full screen. Give me that full screen. Apply. Accept. Still not technically full screen, but whatever. We'll get into it in just a second. I'll keep answering guys' questions. We have a lot to get through. So, Ed8855 Duncan, hyped for the launch of Perseverance. Me too. I seriously am extremely excited for it. Getting more excited for it by the day. That's going to be an awesome one. Join me again Thursday morning, my time, Central. It'll be very early in the morning. I think it's something like 6:45 or something. So I'll be up at like 5 or 6 to bring you guys some really cool coverage. We're working on we'll have telemetry on screen of the launch, which is going to be awesome. Andrew and Declan from Flight Club has been helping Andrew, our producer, make this really cool thing, and Andrew's got it all figured out. So we'll actually have telemetry live over the vehicle while it's going into ascent. So that's going to be super, super cool. Hopefully we'll have the best coverage out there, and we'll have a timeline too, kind of like what you're seeing here, where we have a timeline going, and it's going to be awesome. So yeah, definitely know that that we've got you covered, and it's going to be really fun. So yeah, so tune in Thursday morning. It'll be really, really cool. Marcus Langendorf. Oh, and the cool thing too about, don't forget, if you, like for me, I did not watch Curiosity's launch. I was not even into spaceflight. And now I really wish that I had seen Curiosity's launch, just so I could be like, I saw that thing launch, and now it's this famous, rover on the surface of Mars. That'll be what Perseverance is, because it's another flagship mission that's going to be talked about for years and years and years. So, yeah. Okay, Marcus Langendorf says, the Apollo 11 flew before the decade was out. That's true. Apollo went from nothing to orbital in record-breaking time. Really, from the start of just initial design phases, it was definitely less than a decade. It was more like 8 years, really, from pen and paper to going orbital. Actually, went orbital in 1967 was the launch of Saturn. Was it Apollo 4? Was that the first launch of the Saturn V? I'm kind of blanking right now, but you're right. Things can happen in a real hurry, and they had to develop a lot more connections for that type of stuff. So, yeah. So, hang on here. There we go. Okay. So you're right. We could be pleasantly surprised, but progress is really hard to predict when you're doing stuff like this. Tim says, great guy. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Night Striker 7, new membership. Kurt Roberts, new membership. Thank you. Puffy Cheeks. Hey, Tim, why don't they just go to olfpod.com/highlights? Thank you, Puffy Cheeks. Yeah, I have a lot of people always asking, hey, Tim, especially since I've been in the middle of this relocating with a new studio and stuff. It's been a really busy time for me. I still, every single week, will sit down and do a podcast every week. olfpod.com. You can watch it here on YouTube. It's called Our Ludicrous Future. You can watch on YouTube. You can listen on any podcast, whatever you do. If you want to hear me talk about spaceflight and just give you rundowns on what's happened throughout the week, we go over all the developments of the Starship and all that stuff. So if you want, your news comes out every Friday, ourludicrousfuture.com. It's a lot of fun. So definitely give it a listen. Definitely. And if you want just the snippets, if you just want my spaceflight news, go to olfpod.com/highlights. We do have a separate highlight channel for it because I know that some people don't want the whole hour and a half of three guys rambling about everything. And we do a lot of rambling. But I like that. I like hanging out, having fun, especially during the pandemic and during close downs and stuff. Having people to interact with is very nice. So thank you, Puffy Cheeks. That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for the advertisement, even though yeah. Jared Jewell, please buy Rachel and Jean a lemonade on me. Absolutely. They deserve more than a lemonade. Absolutely. Yep, we treat them well, and we have a great partnership with them. They are just some of my favorite people. Definitely, guys, remember, again, if you are on Twitter, be sure and follow at Space Padre Island, or Isle. Sorry, I always want to say Island. At Space Padre Isle. You can see it in the watermark here. Whoop, in the very top left corner of the screen. That's their username on Twitter. Give them some love. Tell them thank you for their awesome hard work and dedication, because they are great people. And if you happen to, if you end up traveling soon and you go to South Padre, you go down to Boca Chica to look at the Starship and do all the things, go find them. They do teach surf lessons. They have a dog that surfs. They're awesome people. Even if you've never surfed before, they made it really easy. I got up on my very first try with them. They're great. Jack Byer also went surfing. It was super fun. So, yeah. So Dub Halltalk Tracy says, thanks, Tim. You're welcome, Dub Halltalk. I appreciate that. John G here has some money. Thank you. Gerardo Cantu, do you think we'll ever conquer the solar system? I don't think so. I think there's very little reasons for humans to go into deep space, like going out into like Saturn. I would love to see humans on Titan someday. That seems potentially somewhat feasible, like not impossible. But yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to say if we'll ever get out there. That's a big leap. So maybe with like some super advanced technology in the next 200 years or something, who knows? Like, it's hard to predict that type of stuff because you don't know what you don't know, and we just have no idea what technology is going to come out, or how we can learn to exploit physics someday or something. Because eventually, someday we could just be like, gravity, man. If we like learn, who knows? Because I'm sure at one point when we're first discovering what electricity is, I don't think anyone envisioned the world we live in having electricity in like controlled in every device we have. Like that would have been absolutely, in fact, like you couldn't even fathom that, right? So I think that's the same type of thing. Like right now we know kind of what gravity is a little bit, but like we don't have any ways to really control it. And maybe someday we can. We just go, and gravity, more, less. I don't know. So I can't say no, we'll never conquer the solar system. It won't be until some huge fundamental change in how we travel through space happens. But yeah, thank you for the question. Miko says, greetings from snowy Finland. Good and informative show. Well, thank you very much, Miko. Thanks for tuning in. Is it actually still snowy in Finland now in the middle of, like, this should be the hottest unless you're really far north. I hope it's not snowy where you are right now, because unless you're in the southern hemisphere, but that just seems wild to me. But thanks for saying hi, Miko. Dag, new membership. Thank you so much. Sad boy, I'm a chemistry PhD student, and I want to make a video showing the challenges of creating methane and oxygen on Mars. Hit me up if you're interested in a collab. That's awesome, sad boy. I definitely want to learn more and more about the Sabatier process and how you actually make methane and oxygen on Mars. That's very cool. Good luck on a video. That's awesome. SV, do you think the finished Starship will need this much welding to have all those seams? Maybe someday they can go with like taller stacks, but there is a limitation to like traveling on the road with wider stacks. There's definitely logistics that happen, and if the welds aren't necessarily that much heavier, and if they're strong enough, like it's not adding that much. It might be more of a logistical nightmare to double the height and have the number of horizontal welds. They have reduced the number of vertical welds to just one. There's only one vertical weld per ring now. That's a huge upgrade. That's when they started going like the serial numbers. Remember, again, they used to do the Mark 1 and Mark 2. They had like sheets of it. There was like probably, I don't remember, 4 or 6 or something that made up a whole ring. And then they were stacked. And now they've already reduced it into just straight up rings of stainless steel. And that is awesome. So big change there already. Good question. So Philip Moyer, detonation is a type of combustion involving a supersonic exothermic front accelerating through a medium that eventually drives a shock front propagating directly in front of it. Philip, dropping some knowledge on us. I love it. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm very happy to be wrong. Me being wrong is the best thing ever because it gives me an opportunity to learn, right? So I didn't know that the shock front could actually go supersonic. So that's awesome. Or hypersonic. Well, supersonic, yeah. I did not realize that. That's very cool. I will have to. That is something I do want to do a video on someday. Is like the difference and things that happen at like subsonic, supersonic, and hypersonic, and all the different things that happen at different Mach numbers. I just feel like there's a lot of phenomena that are still really hard for me to fathom. So I should definitely do some more research on that and understand it a little bit better. Very cool, Philip. Don Banks, thanks for the flamey end check. Hope no bad booms today. Yes, we are really hoping that they've got this stuff pretty well figured out and ready to go now, because we're ready for some progress. 2020 just needs some good news. Can 2020 please have some good news? Like that was my favorite thing about so far. The Mars missions have been awesome. DM2, huge success. We need more of that. Like we just need some hope. That's what I love about spaceflight is like we all come together and we get a cheer for something, especially in just a dark, weird time around the world. Seeing stuff like this happen is super cool. So yeah, I really hope that this goes well today. We're, fingers crossed, hoping that we get a good static fire and a hop very soon thereafter, maybe before the end of the month. I know that sounds ambitious, but since it's going to end by the weekend, but this thing could happen in July. Kerbalux. Hey, Tim, love your channel. Excited for the upcoming few days. So much happening. Just think how much will happen in the next decade or so. We went to the moon less than a decade after we chose to, which is amazing. You're absolutely right. Thank you, Kerbalux, for the reminder. Yeah, a really, genuinely, extremely exciting week. There's a lot of big things happening already in the next 5-10 years. I mean, we're looking at something that you should really genuinely be excited for and be looking forward to. And again, something to have hope for and something to strive to be a part of, maybe. If you want, I can't tell you how many people tell me that they went back to school or started pursuing a degree in aerospace to work in the aerospace industry, changing their life. Like, I know multiple people that have made drastic shifts because they wanted to be a part of it. And that's what it's all about. That is absolutely what it's all about. Furthering our collective knowledge, furthering our collective work and exploration. That is just really important stuff at the end of the day. So, yeah. So thank you very much, Kerbalux. That's awesome. Brandon Kerr, shout out to the YouTube mods. Yes, the YouTube mods keep our chat room so on point. And again, friendly reminder. So first off, yes, thank you, mods, and thanks Discord, and thanks to everyone that helps behind the scenes, Andrew and everybody. I mean, we just have an awesome team coming together. So big, huge thank you to the Discord, or I mean the mods that make our channel so awesome, because this is a community, and we come in here with one unified goal of again, celebrating and cheering on spaceflight. That's what we're here for. We're coming together. We're setting aside all of our differences. We're not talking about things that are off topic. We're just here to be excited. And this, again, you're in my house when you're on this channel watching these things. So just treat each other like family. We are all team space here. So yeah, and I love it. It means the world to me. So yeah, you guys are awesome and literally changed my life. So. And speaking of changing life, Dag214. What? Everyone in the chat say huge thank you to Dag214. That is unbelievably generous. It is absolutely not necessary. Thank you so much. Yeah, this will... Thank you, Dag214. That is really means a lot. I don't know what to say. Thank you. Everyone, again, big thank you to Dag for helping make all this stuff possible and helping me pay Rachel and Jean for their time and everything too. So, yeah, that is amazing. I love it. Thank you, Dag. Colt Odell, do you think Elon is the most influential person of our time? Yeah, I think he's one of the most. He's right up there with world leaders. I mean, as far as total influence, he is right up there, and that's definitely something I think he's fully aware of, but he's definitely said some things that people disagree with. And that's, I try to be careful with that stuff for myself, my little bit of influence that I have, because those can have big rippling effects. And really just like, I'm all about bringing people together. That's like my total goal. I don't care. I should have been like a professional mediator or something, because all I want is for people to come together. I don't like anything that like really draws a line and separates people. And there's been some statements lately that have been more on the divisive side of things that don't help people bring together. And that's what I've always loved about Elon and SpaceX and wanting to go explore Mars, is it gives people something to all look forward to and come together on. And I really hope that he reminds himself and is reminded of that during these tests and everything. It's just like how important it is to stay focused on us coming together and having something awesome to look forward to. Because it's, again, that's changed my life. The first rocket I ever saw was a Falcon 9 rocket on the pad. I didn't actually get to see the actual launch. I left my camera on the pad, though, and then I had it retrieved, but I had to fly home. It scrubbed, and I had to fly home, and I watched it from home, unfortunately. But, that changed my life. Seeing a rocket and going like, oh, they put landing legs on a rocket? Finally, something cool happening. Like, this is awesome. They're going to try to land this rocket, and everyone's laughing at how stupid the idea is to try to land a rocket. And that just totally changed for me. That was like my aha moment of, oh, this is awesome. This is something to look forward to. And to me, that is that is my part of spaceflight. And that's the reason why I like teaching and learning all these little tiny things, the little tiny things that people work on, forever, that they work so hard on. They work on these little details. They'll spend years and years and years, getting degrees, advanced degrees in something that is so physically small, and they'll work a decade on this type of valve or something that makes huge differences, but the general public has no idea. So helping lift up their work and show what some of these people are working on is like the whole point of Everyday Astronauts, to bring space down to Earth for everyday people. So I do think that Elon's got a ton of influence, and I love when he uses that influence for good. And a friendly reminder, I've had to say this a lot lately, but you can like someone and disagree with them. You can also dislike someone and agree with them. Those are not like mutually exclusive things. It's not like everything. If you like someone, you have to endorse and agree with everything they say. And same with, if you don't like someone, you don't have to not like everything they say. You can like someone and disagree with them, and you can disagree with someone and agree with someone and not like them. Those are different things, and somehow lately it does not feel that way. So just remember that when you see online statements from people or statements, you don't have to totally cancel culture, change your opinion on them as a whole person. You cannot like that part of them or something, and that might shift a little bit how you think. But I hate when people are like, over it. They said something dumb. Like, yeah, people say dumb stuff all the time. I say dumb stuff all the time. Good thing there's not a camera on me 24/7. Like, yeah, we all do it. So just a friendly reminder to come together, be humans with each other. We're here, Team Space. Let's do this. Kevin, thank you for the membership. Manuel Mayer, if you have any questions about welding, feel free to ask. This is my Instagram, Welding Manny. That is awesome. Manny, that's super cool. Yeah, welding is one of those things that I'm not very familiar with. So very cool. Galaxis, thank you so much. Eric O.N., where did it go? It did that thing where it jumps and I totally lose my place and I have to scroll up forever. Oh, man. You guys are crazy. I love this. You guys are so awesome. Eric O.N., opinion / is any rocket launch from balloon? So you need to look into it. I need to still do a video about them someday, but Zero to Infinity is a Spanish company that's working on a balloon launched platform where they lift up on a balloon. It's basically a muffin with a donut around it inside of another donut. It's like a 3.5 stage vehicle because the balloon gets it to the upper atmosphere, so they can use a lot more vacuum extended nozzles. And then it's like a cross fuel fed thing. We could probably do that in Kerbal Space Program, but yeah, there is that option. There's definitely some logistics that are more difficult doing that, and it's all about, is this worth it to develop all these other things and gimbals and things like that change. It's a good question. Let's see here. Squid King 191. Hey Tim, when I was younger, I loved space. Then I got really scared of it. Over the last 2 years, you showed me what I really love. Thank you so much. That's awesome, Squid King. Dang, thank you. I'm glad that you're learning along with us. That's what it's all about. That's very cool, and I'm glad that you found help respark your passion and your enjoyment. So that's awesome. Marcus Harms, my favorite channel. Thank you, Marcus. That really means a lot. Dang, I'm someone's favorite channel. That's so weird to me. I've only been YouTubing for like 3 years, and it just feels crazy to me that you guys are all here. That still like blows my mind. I don't get it sometimes. Falkert says, hey Tim, greetings from the Netherlands. Do you think the Skylon spaceplane will ever take off? They've been at it since the 90s and still no prototype. That engine is one of those, again, the Sabre engine. It's a hybrid engine where it's air breathing, and then they do closed cycle, and then it starts becoming just a pure rocket engine. It's a super cool idea. It totally makes sense, but it's definitely in that world of like the unknowns are unknown. So like, how do you chill air down to go from like, when you're going supersonic and hypersonic, how do you get it to be cold enough to become liquid fuel and chill it down? They've had to work on that, and they've done some really good work. It's just one of those things. I think it would need a lot more funding to really get somewhere, but it seems so cool, and I really hope we do see that technology used. I don't know if they need to be doing the entire thing. Hold on here. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, we have not seen any thing yet. Welcome to watching paint dry live with Everyday Astronaut. So I don't know. I would like, frankly, if like Reaction Engines or Reaction Systems Limited or whatever their actual legal name is, if they just really focused on the engine, which is what they're doing, and then sold that engine off to even like commercial airliners or something. Like I would love to have a Concorde 2.0 that has a hybrid engine like that. That would be the coolest thing ever. Yeah, ever. So we're getting close to the 30, where we thought we were about 30 minutes away-ish, and still no action. So we are waiting. You know, our timer is a rough estimate. We're assuming that we're, looking at like, because the pad's been clear since, 3 o'clock? Maybe we should have that little timestamp, but yeah, something like 3 or 4 o'clock, I think about 3 o'clock the pad was clear already. So, yeah, so we're just we assumed they'd go into fueling pretty soon, but they are not quite there yet. And it's okay. They've had some explosions before, so not pushing it until they're ready is definitely the right thing to do. But good question, Folkert. James H. says, thank you. Thank you, James H. Era says, hey, Tim, been following you since you had around 80,000 subscribers. Great to see how spaceflight has evolved from somewhat of a niche interest in a few years to a widely held passion nowadays. Keep up the great work. Yes, seriously, I can't believe, like, when I was first getting into, like, how Everyday Astronaut started was always, it was a photography project originally. And when I was trying to find props and things like that, I could not find space things. There weren't, like, space shirts you could buy besides, like, maybe some NASA shirts. There just wasn't much out there. And in the last 5 years, I cannot express how much has changed. It's just been absolutely incredible to see how much more mainstream spaceflight is and how much, like, it's being covered in the mainstream news now. It's becoming, publicly, people are wearing NASA shirts just for fun and thinking they're cool, and that is awesome. Same with SpaceX. It's really, really, really cool. Yeah, that is very cool. So I agree, and thank you very much, Era. Warriston says, I believe that the other person asking about the black smudge of stuff on the bottom left of the shot. Black smudge of stuff at the bottom left of the shot. Like the little sticky thing. Yeah, I think that's just like a light stand with cameras and stuff. Like it's, floodlights and all that stuff. Black smudge. Yeah, sorry. There is quite a bit of the heat. The heat distortion should start burning off here soon, and we'll actually get a clearer shot the later it gets, as it cools off a little bit down there in Boca Chica. So the atmospheric distortion should die down, and I think the wind hopefully will die down too. All right, so Alice says, just saying hi, thanks for your channel. Thank you very much, Alice. That means a lot. LTM says, you are amazing. Thank you very much, LTM. Marco, keep it up. Absolutely. Thank you. Philip Moyer, someone asked about nuclear explosions. The shock front has an exponentially determined speed of 2,800 mile per hour. Effects of nuclear weapons, section 3.11. Dang. That is wild. Not exponentially, an experimentally determined speed. I did not know that. Thank you, Philip, for helping teach me something. I don't know if it's ever actually been calculated. I could probably find and talk to some people who know. Let's see here. So we're at 30. We're not seeing anything. I'll wait until we're at like 5:45. If we're not seeing anything, we're going to move our clock again. Although we could probably reset our clock to a good like 6:30 or something, because it's obviously not going to happen within an hour at this point, because it takes about an hour to fuel up, around an hour, 55 minutes or so, 50 minutes to an hour to fuel up. So we're not seeing any signs of that. So let's at least push it back. Andrew, if you can change the clock up to 1 hour, T-minus 1 hour, that'll be a good place to start, at least for now. And then we can continually evaluate. We're still just waiting. Okay, so Lee, we all want me to be the ambassador for Mars. I don't know about that. I mean, I can sure talk a lot. Thanks, Lee. I would gladly help try to bring unity to a new planet. We can start from scratch on a new planet and set some new rules. And rule number 1 is, like, no matter what the two opinions are, like, let's make sure there's someone that understands the middle ground and helps mediate, because it just seems like we are not in a place where that's a thing right now. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and refresh our clock. Sorry, again, it's a little bit jank the way I have to do this right now, but give me 1 second. And it'll come up with a new time, I think. Maybe. I think the clock might be a little bit borked. It might be working its way back into the interwebs or something. I probably should go studio mode, because then I could work on some stuff in there and try to fix it. See what's going on here. Let me see here. Trying to make sure this is okay. Andrew, we haven't changed where that's linked to, right? Live stream, telemetry, HTML. Countdown. It should be in there. Seems to be a little bit borked right now, but yeah. Sorry about that, guys. We'll work on getting that back up. We're gonna try here one more time. Andrew says maybe. I was gonna say, I hope we don't lose our actual feed. Okay, so we're experiencing a little bit of a problem with our actual clock, so bear with us. But Kerbal Lux, shake my head, just time warp to when it starts. Yeah. Speaking of Kerbal, why don't we hop over here to Kerbal Space Program, and I will show you guys how this thing's going to hop. I'll just keep it up in the little screen because, you know, you guys panic if you don't see the shiny vehicle. So let's get a bigger probe core because, you know, it's a big vehicle. So here's what this actually ends up looking like. It's basically a probe core like this, and then like the flight computer, and then we're going to go, we can put on it something like this. That's not quite wide enough, but whatever. It's close enough. And then it's basically just a giant tank, like it's actually kind of a bunch of tanks, obviously. There's two. There's technically the methane tank and the liquid oxygen tank. But bear with me. I'm going to make this look somewhat accurate. For those of you that don't know what this is, too, just in case there's people out here, this is Kerbal Space Program. It's an awesome game / like it's part game, part like simulator, and it's honestly one of the best ways to learn orbital mechanics and learn about spaceflight, in my opinion. Is this the right size one? Is that the mega one, the 5-meter one? I don't even know anymore. Oh, give me 1 second. Pick it up here a little bit. And let's do another one of those, because the methane tank and the oxygen tank are actually relatively similar in size. One's actually about twice as big, if I remember right. But that looks like I've brought the right proportions. Good enough. And what we're going to do is we're going to empty this baby out, because the actual vehicle is not anywhere near fully fueled. And we will keep this fully fueled. And currently, there is only a single Raptor engine on there. So normally, what's going to happen when they're ready to go, they will have up to 7, probably more like 6, but for the first flights, they'll do 3 in the center like this. Now, this is a little bit off scale. I apologize, but there's going to be 3. But today, the way they're flying this thing for this first hop is going to be with only 1. But because there's 3 launch mounts like this, and they are around the center of the vehicle, you know, they're all equidistant from the center. Because those are where the launch mounts are, this thing's actually going to fly crooked. So it's going to fly with just a single engine offset like this. Now, this might be a little bit more extreme version of what it's going to look like. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I forgot now we have stainless steel. So I'm going to make it so we have a big, pretty stainless steel shell. This is going to be awesome. Something like this. Yay, stainless steel. It will be stainless steel. Give me a second. How do I terminate this properly? Might be easier to go the other way around. That's actually what I'm going to do. Bear with me 1 second. Doing it just for fun. We got to have it look accurate, right? If it doesn't look accurate, what's the point? For some reason, it felt like when I was saying accurate, it felt like I was saying the word Acura, which is confusing. If it doesn't look Acura, it's a Toyota. Okay, put this baby back on there. How am I going to make this look convincing? I really wish that I could just go straight down, but it won't let me just go straight down. You have to have it stick out a tiny bit, teeny tiny bit, and that's probably going to annoy me more than it looking the right color. I'm so stupid. Oh, whatever. And boop, and we can just barely do that. Ha ha ha! Look at that. Now we can make this baby shiny and stainless steel. Look at that. Actually looks okay. That was worth it. Worth it. Even though the top looks wonky. I don't know what other way to do that better, but there's also a big mass simulator on top, so we'll just stick one of these guys right here. Good enough. We'll put some ore in it. Okay, so this is basically what we're looking at here, and then we'll also have some COPVs all over this thing. Again, we're kind of just doing this willy-nilly, but whatever. Screw it. That actually looks pretty decent, not gonna lie. Okay, then it will definitely have some big old thrusters on it. Enough to do some maneuvering, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lower this. Why did I put it up to the ceiling, basically? Okay, so it'll go like this. Yeah, good enough. Okay, then like I said, the crazy part here is that we only have a single engine. And I don't know where my one KS25 went. It's floating somewhere in the VAB. Come back down here. Okay. So this is pretty much what it is. Only in real life, there aren't two tanks inside the tanks. So don't get that stuck in your head. That's just for illustration, just to make it look pretty. It's just a skin that I put on. Because real life, the skin is the tank. The files are inside the computer. Zoolander reference, sorry. There we go. That kind of looks like it has piping to it. Okay, okay. Now we add another, again, it's going to be a little bit funny taper, but whatever. Why do I always forget where the where that tubey thing is? Aha. Way down, yeah. Something about like this. And then it even has landing legs that fold out about like, yeah. I think there's 6 of them. If I remember right, is it 6? Okay, it will interface with the engine, but shh, don't tell Elon. And they kind of start up retracted out of the way, and then they fold out. But we want them to be like, I don't know. Just trying to make it look kind of, oopsies. I'm doing that all sorts of wonky. There we go. About like that. That'll be good enough. Good enough. Okay. So this is pretty much all it is. Again, we have lots of thrusters on it. We'll put some thrusters at the bottom too. And what you're going to see is this thing's going to end up flying crooked. And sorry, we're doing this because we have a lot of time here, folks. We don't even have even a decent estimation of when they're going to try to static fire tonight. And notice I say tonight because it's quickly slipping into the evening. So there we go. We kind of have those. I'm going to make sure the fairing is not staged. Pew, pew, pew. Good enough. A little wonky, but whatever. Good enough. Okay, so this is Starship serial number 5. Not Stargoo. Stargoo serial number 5. And save that. And now let's go fly this thing. What do I need to do, though? That's probably good enough. I do not see any venting. We're going to try and refresh the clock here real quick. And I don't know why this is not still showing up in proper full screen either. But whatever. Pew, pew, pew. Okay, so, ooh, spicy. Looks kind of black. Let's get it into some daylight. Let's get the lighting conditions right. You know, that matters. It is so weird how it looks so black. That's not at all. I think Kerbal devs need to make it work on their stainless steel. It just looks way too dark. Anyway, what's going to happen is this vehicle, which is currently not working at all, it ran out of electricity already. How did it do that already? Someone forgot to charge the batteries. Yeah, again, this is called Kerbal Space Program. You guys can get it anywhere. Like I always get it on Steam. Yeah, it's an awesome game. Wait, what? Hey. Where the heck did that battery just go? What? The invisible disappearing battery. There. No. What is happening? Come back. There. Whatever. We have plenty of batteries now. That will not happen again. I hereby promise. Okay, let's go launch this thing, and let's see how long we can fire this engine for. Oh, its thrust to weight ratio is too low, so we actually have to drain this tank more. Let's just take this tank all the way out of there. There we go. And we can burn for 46 seconds. That'll be plenty for this first hop. Yeah. Pretty fun stuff. No, you have not missed the static fire. That's why we've got this thing here. I want to make it so the sunlight is just shining out right there. That's the best it looks, right there. Okay, so what we're going to do, now remember, this thing is offset. The engine is off-center, so it's going to fly crooked. So what we're going to do is we're going to fire up this engine, and I'm going to have it try to hold straight up. And it will have to, no, I actually don't want it to fly straight up. What do I want it to do? Because if it holds straight up, it won't actually fly straight. Will it? No. Okay, anyway, let's throttle it up here, and we're definitely immediately, so I have to like do a power slide basically. And in order to make it fly anywhere near straight, notice that it's how offset it is like this. And that's the way you get it to go straight up. Now, it's not going to go anywhere near this height. We've already gone like 200 meters. Yeah, because it's offset, though, look at how much it wants to like lean over. You know, basically, if we turn off stability, it's going to flip around basically like that. Whee! And do a cool flip. Do some stunts, Starship. Yeah, so that's hopefully that's not at all what we see when it does the hop. Hopefully within about a week. But let me try and do one more here. Sorry, Discord. I just realized it's not refreshing. Land on the VAB roof. Oh, man. Oh. Okay. If I get challenged to land on the VAB roof, even though it's flying so crooked, this is going to be so hard. Let's do it, though. People are still saying it's venting. I don't see any venting. Okay, let's try it. Here we go. Going for the roof. This is so hard to control. Eee! It's so weird to fly this thing. It's flying so crooked. Eee! A little bit higher. A little bit north. Oh, God. Those are some strong doors. Those are some really strong doors. I am impressed. Boop. Yeah, again, hopefully it's nothing like that. Let's give it one more try, and then I got to get back to you guys' comments because I feel like we're missing out on a lot. So, oh. ridiculous. Just ridiculous. This is why I love Kerbal. This is honestly a huge challenge. Landing it with an engine this offset. I'm going to try and make it hold straight up. And in doing so, it should translate basically straight over for me. All I have to do is get it to hover. And I just have to slam on the brakes. This is way easier. Basically hands-free flying. Let's make sure we're... If I knew the exact altitude of the VAB, this would help a lot. We're going down. We're also gaining a lot of horizontal velocity, so we want to start bleeding that out a little bit. There we go. We're getting there. Dang it. Dang it. It came quicker than I thought. Okay, well, we did better. We did better that time. Let's stop playing Kerbal. But that's how it has to fly. Because that engine is so offset, it will fly crooked. It will fly at an angle. I didn't even really show that, did I? Let me one more time. I'll just let it take off. I'll show you guys how it flies. And if it's to fly straight up, it definitely has to angle in order for the center of mass, the engine has to gimbal over in order to make it so the center of thrust goes directly through the center of mass. But here, let me just fly this thing. I'll show you the engine. So if I actually want it to fly straight up, it has to be way back like this. So notice it's still going that way. So if I wanted it to fly straight up, it's more like this. Look at how crooked it actually has to fly. That's because the engine has to gimbal enough to put the center of thrust through the center of mass. I'll put it back in the vehicle assembly building and show you guys why and how that works. So if we're going to land this thing, we have to do a massive suicide burn now. I flew it way too high. Way too high. Oh no. Okay, whatever. Let me do one more thing with you guys and show you the center of mass, center of thrust thing. So notice the engine, there's only one engine, and it's center of thrust. If you fire that engine straight down, it is off center. The center of mass, where the center of the mass of the vehicle, is basically right in the middle of it. Obviously, it's a tiny bit offset because of that engine, but for the most part, the engine weighs something, but the center of mass is right in the middle. So you can see the center of thrust here being offset. Now, if we bring this in a little bit, it'd make it a lot easier because inherently it's just closer to the center of mass. So the closer to that center line, and if we had this right in the middle, this thing would fly totally normal, like a normal rocket. But yeah, but it is offset because again, there will eventually be 3, so they have an engine mount that's designed for 3. So there you go, Kerbal Space Program. Thank you for the antics, like always. Okay, James H. There's a black fuzzy thing on the camera lens. Is that on the camera? I don't see a black fuzzy thing. It might be... What am I missing? I haven't seen anything. Help, Andrew. And also, sorry, we still don't really have our clock working. Let me try one more time. What's nah ish? What's nam ish? I like it. Andrew's going, it's very broken now. I like it though. Nam ish. We'll keep it. All right. Thank you though, James. I'll try to see if they can clean something up, but I don't see anything on the lens. Maybe I'm blind. Not a nano hour, not a nano minute. Whatever, it's great. Not a number. I wish. I'm keeping it. I love it. Andrew, don't change a thing. Nan-ish. Okay, good morning. Oh wait, sorry. Losk Evanos. Los Kevanos. Sure. Thank you. Night Fox, good morning from Japan. Can't wait for Static Fire. Me too. This is a big milestone. Really excited for it. Kevon Day, have you tried Simple Rockets 2? Think KSP, but with fully procedural parts that you can play on Android, iOS. Yes, I've absolutely played Simple Rockets. It is awesome. Simple Rockets 2 is very, very impressive. I wish that for some reason, there's something lacking for me of like the gameplay ability. Like it's just not as engaging as I wish that the two could blend. If you could blend all the best things about like the procedural parts and even like procedural engines and stuff that you can do in Simple Rockets and blend it with like the fun antics of Kerbal, it'd be awesome. But they're both great for different reasons. Caleb Crow says children on Mars will grow up dreaming of one day going to Earth. And for those that do, getting to go outside without a suit will be so weird. Yeah, and extra gravity. Can you imagine being crushed by over like basically 2.5 times what you're used to? Like if you weigh, 100 pounds on Mars, or 45 kilograms on Mars, you'd weigh basically 2.5 times that on Earth, and that'd just be crazy. You'd be crushed. I feel like it'd be even worse on the moon. 6 times. You'd be experiencing 6 times more gravity. Your legs would just crumble and shatter probably or something. Not used to that. Mr. Enigma 0011, thanks for the membership. Alan Beckett, thanks for the membership. We Prawn High, if Starship is going to land on Mars, does it have to be decontaminated like the Mars rovers? If not, why and how do you even do that? Good luck with the mouse. Thank you. If Starship's going to land on Mars, it will need to be decontaminated to a certain degree. I don't know. That's definitely something up for debate, though, because a lot of that would burn up on reentry, and there's things they could do probably to. I don't know how you do that. I think by the time something like Starship lands on Mars, I don't know what we do for planetary protection. I have no idea, honestly. I wish I did know because I just have no idea, unfortunately. Yeah. All right. Kaylin Poe, thank you for your tip. I should mention to those members. We also, for those of you that were watching Kerbal Space Program and enjoyed watching Kerbal Space Program and learning from it, members and of course Patreon supporters get access to exclusive live streams. I think that's I've forgotten until right now to realize that I can make it so those unlisted streams. I think I can do that. I might need to find a way to make sure that I can do unlisted streams for members only that are the same as our Patreon ones. But we do Patreon live streams at least once a month, especially if you're a pilot or above, you get more behind-the-scenes access, and we do like this exclusive. It's almost more like if you're a pilot or above in our Patreon tiers, it's basically like you're an investor in the show. So I like tell you guys the behind-the-scenes things that are coming up, go through some of the financial decisions even, and like what's worth it, and what I'm excited about in that sense. We just get a little more personal. So if you want to, if you feel like you have like something to add there and you want to really gain more access to that kind of stuff and help out with scripts and stuff, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Patreon.com/everydayastronaut. You can gain access to our awesome Discord channel. Hi, Discord. Love you guys. It's a really good community. We have a really tight group that is really friendly and helps people learn more about space. So if you're experiencing a lot of still quarantining and a lot of stuff like that, our community is amazing. So yeah, very, very, very awesome. I love you guys. Andrew Handler, hi Tim, love your vids and excited for the Static Fire. Ever thought of doing a video on the NASA Spirit probe? I haven't ever done a video on the NASA Spirit probe. Frankly, okay, here's the sad thing. This is the sad truth. There's very little incentive for me to do videos on something like the Spirit probe. That Imperial versus Metric where I dove into why, how the Mars climate orbiter, how it failed, that totally flopped. And I spent weeks on it, and I definitely lost money on it because I pay an editor, I pay for foreign subtitles and subtitles so that when it's launched it can be read by everyone internationally. I definitely lost money on that video, and there's very little incentive. And I still want to do things that are fun and meaningful to me, and things that I learned. But for some reason, just doing a video about a random mission, there's just not much incentive there. And I think it's just because people aren't wanting to learn necessarily about a 20-year-old rover. I out of the blue. Like if there's something that relates to it, I like to try to weave things into another narrative. So I'd gladly probably talk about Spirit. If it's something, is more current, that we can talk then about how this relates or whatever, like bring up, that's what I like to do in my videos. That's why my videos are so long, because I'm constantly doing little throwbacks or little, like, you guys know me, I'm Tangent Town. I throw you guys on so many loops, and I love those. Because that's my way of getting in those facts and getting in those little stories that are relevant to a bigger topic. So instead of just like, here's a probe, it did this and this and this and this and this. Instead, I like to just kind of try to weave it into a bigger storyline. But maybe I'll keep my eyes open and see if there's a reason to weave Spirit into a newer video. So thank you, Andrew, though. Slithery says, abort or abort, there isn't a pointy end. It is more of a blunt end. You're right. It's a little bit more of a cube. It's literally a mass simulator sitting on top. It's just a bunch of steel, big old hunk of steel on top to help with the center of mass. And so they don't have to fuel it up so much to add a bunch of weight for the Raptor, just giving it a more approximate weight balance. And also having that center mass up top makes for the, that whole crooked thing, the further up that center of mass, the more leverage the engine has over the center of mass, and it's just easier to fly if the center of mass is really far away from the thing it's offset. So you're basically offsetting it by fewer degrees. If there's a lot of weight at the bottom and the engine's offset, like it's almost impossible to aim your center of mass through it and still be going up. So the higher up that center of mass is, the less angle and the closer to straight up that center of thrust is. So, very good thing to point out. So thank you. Fossil Audio Research Group, thank you so much for your tip. David Ogawa, thank you for the membership. I really appreciate that. Rip93 Ford, what do you think will be the first meal on the moon for the Artemis program, that the Artemis program astronauts will have? Oh man, I have no idea. That's a really good question. I don't know. I hope that space food has come a very long way since the Apollo program. So to have something, to eat for the first time since 1972, something on the moon, I hope it is something really cool, like something more to celebrate. Something that's like, a fine cuisine of some kind, and not just like something out of a can. I think the astronauts will deserve it after will be well over 50 years by that point. So, and not that those astronauts in particular are waiting 50 years, but just over 50 years since humans will have set foot on the moon again. Good question, Rip93 Ford. Maxers, thank you for all your content. You're welcome, Maxers. I really appreciate that. Esh Daddy, how's it going? So do you still think a 50-pound rabbit? Well, you know the rest. Anyway, my son James is off to college for computer game design. Can you do a shout out? James, dude, do some awesome stuff with computer games. I mean, game design. Think about how many of us computer games have changed our lives. And it can obviously be used to change our lives for the better. I just saw, I didn't realize that like The Last of Us or Last of Us 2, I don't remember which one. It might be a spoiler, but there's some really cool stuff related to space in one of those games. And I just saw a whole cutscene from it. And it was beautiful. It almost made me cry. And it's just so cool how the gaming industry has become, just like the movie industry, where you have a lot of influence, a lot of potential to do some good in the world. So kick some butt in college and have a reason for going out there and learning. Don't just learn because it's arbitrary, because it's something you think you want to do. Like, go there because you have purpose and you want to change the world, and you actually want to make art and make storylines and make graphics and make a enjoyable experience. Like, make that change. That's what the future is all about. So good luck, James, and thank you, Esh Daddy. And yes, a 50-pound rabbit is huge. Pubstub, hello from Chattanooga, Tennessee. Can't wait to see this thing fly to the moon and Mars. I'm going to lose my mind. When this thing even just goes, when the 150-meter hop happens, I'm going to lose my mind. When this thing goes, oh my word, when this thing goes orbital, I'm going to lose my mind. The 20-kilometer hop, that's probably going to be the nuttiest one. The 3-engine, first time they try to do the belly flop landing, I will lose my mind. But can you imagine? Can you imagine when they actually fly it to the moon for the first time? It'll be so wild. Thank you, Pubstub. And I should mention, guys, remember, when this thing actually goes orbital, it'll be over 3 times this height. Over 3 times. It'll be a 2-stage rocket for that. Because what we're seeing right now is only about 2/3 of just the upper stage. There's a nose cone that's another third on top of this. So even just the upper stage is substantially taller than this. This thing is huge. It's 9 meters wide. It's what, about, is it 30 or so, 35 meters tall? Like, it's really tall. So 30 feet wide, almost 100 feet tall. This thing is just absolutely massive. A lot bigger than people, I think, have a perspective on, unless you go and like drive by and see it. It is huge, 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 huge. Yeah, and this is only about 2/3 of the upper stage, and the upper stage is only about 2/3 of the entire orbital vehicle. So just think about that. Yeah. Hang on. So yeah, it's very, very, very cool, and I'm gonna full blown lose my mind when it's fully stacked. It'll be the tallest thing on the island. It'll be taller than the skyscrapers on South Padre Island, which is really cool to think about. So we're gonna see a skyscraper officially flying. Austin, thank you for the membership. And really quick before I move on here, guys. Speaking of Austin, I wanted to really we're gonna change tone for just a second, and I apologize. It's gonna be a little bit sadder here, but I don't know if you guys know Austin Barnard, who is just a big supporter of space. He's been down there taking pictures for everyone and doing awesome things. Let me try to hang on one second here. Unfortunately, hang on, Austin Barnard. I'm pulling up his Twitter here so I can just read a statement directly from him. Oh. It's very sad, so I just want us to all set the tone here. So, unfortunately, Austin's dad passed away very suddenly, and it was just, it actually happened not yesterday. It happened, I think, on the 25th or 24th. He unfortunately died of COVID. Both his parents came down with it. His mom has recovered, although she's now having some extra health issues. But if you guys know Austin, send him some love. We're probably going to try to figure out a way. I think the space community, Austin's done a lot of work doing photos and stuff and going out, and, he's just a really great guy. He's helped a lot of the photographers behind the scenes, just like giving them rides and stuff. Helped me get to and from Boca Chica many times from Brownsville. Just a great guy, and we're just absolutely heart-wrenched that his father passed away. So, yeah. So, just send him a quick note of love, Austin Barnard 45 on Twitter. And like I said, if he wants, if it's something that would help, we could probably help raise money for, a service or something. Because Austin's done a lot of really good things for the space community. He's just an all-around awesome kid. So, this is just absolutely heart-wrenching that this happened. So, yeah, so everyone listen to Austin here. He says, please hold your loved ones tight and please be safe. You're one with the stars. So hopefully we, us, the space community here, something can do something special for Austin and help make his day better. So maybe we can, when there's a cool mission coming up, maybe we can give a little tribute to, I believe his name was Donald, if I remember right. And yeah, so yeah, we might have to set up something like a GoFundMe or something. But yeah, good kid. We love you, Austin. Hang in there, bud. Okay, so on a more positive note, thank you very much, Mr. Enigma 0011. What do I? That's very generous. Thank you. What do you think about the plans to use Starship for intercontinental travel? Well, it's definitely in SpaceX's plans. Sorry, I had a little bit of it. That was a sad moment. I want us to be excited, I want us to be happy and together on this. But yeah, let me get refocused here. So if you look up SpaceX Point Earth to Earth on YouTube, let me pull this up here quick. This has been part of their plan forever, actually, for a long time. And it's a very serious part of their plan, is to actually use this as point-to-point transportation on Earth. Now, this is an older video, and so this was kind of when it was still called the BFS and BFR. This is the 9-meter version. It has changed since then, and Elon actually said on Twitter, and a lot of people missed this one, but he basically said that they think now point-to-point, they can do it just with the upper stage, which would save a lot of fuel costs, a lot of hardware costs, a lot of complexity, if they're only doing the upper stage. And if they only do the upper stage, it can't go orbital. It's still suborbital flight, but they can do pretty long form point to point, like really far. Like you could go, obviously cross the oceans and things like that. And you can get anywhere because of orbital mechanics in under 45 minutes. So this is the old school version here. This is an old plan. This video I think came out, if I remember, this is 2017, or 20. Yeah, this is 2017 because 2018 was Deer Moon. Last year was the new Starship version with the flippity flappity, air breakity. Well, I guess 2018 Deer Moon showed those two, but it's finally stainless steel, more like what we're used to now, came out last year. But yeah, this is the point, or this is the plan. But like I said, they won't really need the boosters anymore. As you can tell, this changed a lot. It didn't really seem to have a dynamic aerosurface. That big, large kind of delta wing almost on the bottom of it is, they didn't really know, they didn't have the aerodynamics figured out, and they've done a lot of work, I think, to really get the aerodynamics figured out now. But yeah, this would be pretty cool. This is a big part of it, and obviously I have 2 videos on these topics that come up often. So if you're interested in learning about that, more about that, I actually have 3 videos for you. I have, let's see, I have a Earth to Earth. It's an old one, Everyday Astronaut. Can SpaceX's BFR really be used on Earth as a point-to-point transportation system? It's so old that it's me in my spacesuit, so old school Everyday Astronaut days. But it's still a pretty good video, chocked with lots of information, including like how loud the sound is. We even did a rough estimate of the actual distance for how far away you need to be in order for it to not be shattering windows and stuff like that. I don't remember where that's at. Here we go. Like this is kind of a map showing how far out you'd have to be to get certain volumes, So really, in order to make it so it's not terribly disruptive to everyone, you'd have to be pretty far out there, somewhere around 67 decibels or so. So yeah, it's 160 kilometers, about 100 miles out is how far you'd have to be away from like major populated areas to not be just horribly disruptive every time it launches. So there's that video. The other one that pollution comes up a lot, rocket pollution. If you watch this video, how much do rockets pollute? We break down what if Starship was launching every single day, right? What if it was competing with airliners, and we actually get like all of the CO2 numbers, the CO2 per passenger. We break it down into everything. This video took an insane amount of research. We even have like the total number of orbital launches. How many times we had to launch Starship in order to, per day to match, the airline industry. This is one of my favorite animations ever because it shows how many orbital launches there are versus how many. I'll make this thing full screen quick so it's at least bigger for you guys. Orbital launches versus commercial flights. You can't even see the orbital launches by the end of it per year. Yeah, because there's 331,000 times, over 331,000 times more flights than rocket launches. So obviously, there's quite a ways to go before. So this is a good video if you guys want to learn more about that aspect of it. And then lastly, the other video that I'd recommend if you are interested in point-to-point transportation stuff for Starship would be Starship Abort System. I go over a lot of numbers. Why won't Starship have an abort system? Should it? And we go over like all of these different numbers too. Again, of the safety factor of like how many times has an abort system been used, how many times has it saved a life, success rates of propulsive landing, tons of charts, tons of data, commercial airline success versus orbital success, like lots of stuff for you guys to study. So those are the 3 videos I would recommend if you do want to learn more about Starship as a point-to-point transportation system. Watch the pollution, the point-to-point transportation on Earth, and probably the Starship Abort System, because that's the other big thing that I have a little bit of a problem with, or have a bit of issue with. So yeah. All right. So thank you so much, Mr. Enigma. Simon, good day, Tim. Keep the positive vibes flowing. Thank you so much, Simon. Jeez, you really don't have to do that. Everyone, say big thank you to Simon and to Mr. Enigma, 2 people. I mean, again, just incredibly generous. I hope that I'm being good stewards of your time and hoping to just continually make a positive impact while doing fun educational things. I hope that everyone's feeling like they're learning something together, and that's what this is all about. So yeah, that this community means the world to me. You guys are incredible. So yeah, thank you so much. I just don't even know what to say. Thank you, Simon. Really, sincerely, thank you. Maury, can we watch new? Where did that go? Jeez, sorry guys, I've been talking too long. Maury, can we watch new SpaceX video together? Yeah, we can actually. It sounds like there's a new SpaceX spacesuit video. Let's give this a watch together because I have not watched this either. It just came out while we're talking, I think. And let's give it a little watch. I'm going to listen. Let me know if you guys can hear okay. Ah, crap. It's desktop audio is not working. Crap. I'd probably have to restart OBS for that. Well, we'll just let it play just for visuals. Unfortunately, you can't hear it. I wish you could. But actually, I think they played this. Didn't they play this during DM2? I feel like I've definitely seen videos of Chris here. Super cool. Oh, they moved it. I had been in. I actually, on the record, I guess, I think it's okay to say this now. I got to see and touch and hold the spacesuit way back in 2017, before it was public, and I about pooped my pants. It was in a totally different room than this, and it was so cool. And it was already pretty well finished and pretty well figured out by that point. It is so crazy to see in person. Absolutely wild. It definitely looks best sitting down. I think they did a great job with it sitting down. Conversely, I think Boeing's actual suit when standing up actually looks pretty good. It's very slim fit. I think Boeing's suit fit when standing looks better, but when sitting, I think this the SpaceX suit is substantially better looking. They're hard. Spacesuits are really hard. And again, remember, this is an IVA suit, an intravehicular activity suit. It is not meant for like going out and doing a spacewalk. These suits are only meant for IVAs, and it's only really there in case the vehicle would lose pressure. It gives you enough partial pressure, basically enough to like survive for an hour or two. I don't even know what the exact determination is, but basically long enough for you to get back down to Earth. So they're not really designed, to be used like outside in the full environment of space. So yeah, the gloves. Everyone says the gloves are the hardest part of anything because you need to have the dexterity, but also like lack of bulkiness, but they also need to hold pressure. It's just a whole thing. Pretty impressive that the Apollo gloves were actually so good back in the day. Super cool. I love these shots. They're beautiful. Hey Andrew, how are we coming on the how are we coming on let's see, on the countdown clock? Do we have any updates on that? Oh, it looks like he maybe did something. Let me check and see if it actually is going to work. 1 second. Hey. Okay. Cool, but I don't think we probably need to reset this to 7 o'clock. Sorry, I should have said that because we're definitely still not seeing any fueling. Let's go ahead and make it 7. Now that you got it. Now that you got it on there, yeah, we haven't seen any signs of fueling yet, so we're still... Okay, I'm going to refresh it one more time. There we go. Thank you, Andrew. Everyone say thank you in chat. And again, one more time, thank you to Rachel and Jean at Space Padre Isle on Twitter. Send them some love on Twitter. Give them a follow. Tell them thank you for their hard work. They are just, again, some awesome people. So yeah, go find them. Again, we have right below on the top left part of your screen, you will see at Space Padre Isle on Twitter. Send them some love. They're awesome. They're the ones running this camera for us down there. I sent them. They are sitting on a 500 millimeter lens. I don't think they're at 500 millimeters, but on a micro four thirds camera that can shoot in slow mo. So I will have to remind them. They probably know, but I'll have to remind them to make sure they're recording. Yeah, it's pretty impressive stuff. So I'm glad that we have that. And then what they do is they plug it into this thing called a live view, and that live view unit sends them their broadcast straight here, and then we take it out into YouTube. So it's awesome stuff. So we have pretty low latency, and yeah, So show them some love, and thank you, Rachel and Jean, for all your hard work. Okay, so thank you for that idea too, Marori. Suvra, aren't those towers too close to the launch pad? I think so, yes. I personally am not a big fan of their tank farm being literally right there. They're a little. They're not as close as they look from our perspective. The tower. These aren't towers. These are the fuel tanks and the oxygen tanks. They're a little bit. There's a berm in between the vehicle, but I think there needs to be a lot bigger berm because although serial number 5 blew up about as bad as, or serial number 4 blew up about as bad as serial number 4 could blow up, and it didn't really do substantial damage. Yeah, it took a month or two, but yeah. Yeah, so there you go. I think they're too close myself, but apparently they don't. But a little bit of it is perspective. Guys, I'm going to take a really quick break. I'm going to just go grab a refresh. I'm all out of coffee, and I want a sparkling water for the rest of my stream here. So I'll be right back with you guys. I'm going to leave this running, of course, so you guys can keep me updated. I can't wait for all the comments to say as soon as I sit back down, you missed it, you missed it, you missed it. I'm not going to fall for it now. I'm just telling you that right now. I'm not even going to fall for it, everybody. All right, I will be right back. I just got to find out how to do it on my new thing. All right, I'll be right back. Give me 5-minute break, and I will be right back with you guys. Hang in there. Okay, hello, everybody. Again, I'm wanting to talk quiet just in case, someone turned up their speakers last minute or something. I am back. It is me. Hi, it's me, Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut. Of course. Yep. There it is. There it is. Here it comes. Oh, I called it. I missed it? What? No, someone help. Oh, no. How are you guys? Did you guys miss me too much? We have a lot of questions to answer still, it looks like. You guys went hard. This is a tsunami if you missed it. Oh, I need a shirt that just says you missed it. Yeah, here, let me try acting again. By the way, I have to say one of my favorite things in the world is bad acting, like purposefully bad acting, or even unintentional bad acting, like when it's so bad it's funny, like the movie Trolls 2, Troll 2. Sorry, not Trolls 2, Troll 2. Totally different than the Trolls franchise, and there's no trolls in it. The reason it was called Troll 2 is because the movie Troll was already taken, so they just called it Troll 2. Didn't even have any. It just had Gremlins. Is that what it was? Yeah, anyway, some of the worst acting in the world, kind of like The Room, or is it Room or The Room? I don't know, I get them confused. But anyway, let me try my best acting skills again. Oh no, help me, I missed it. Oh no. There, how was that? Way more convincing. Oh. Obviously I didn't miss it. We haven't seen fueling even beginning yet. Okay. Alexander, Sergeev says, what you think is more effective at driving innovation in space? International cooperation or competition like Moonrace? Also, your package is stuck in New York. Okay, so first off, on packages, international shipping, it's often not stuck in New York. There's a very good chance that that's just the last tracking point. If it's USPS and some of the other, going internationally, it stops getting tracked. There's a very good chance it's stuck in your customs. So the UK and Germany have really bad times with custom times from our store. And it will look like so many times people are like, the tracking shows it's been stuck in LA for 2 weeks. It's like, no, that's actually the last place it was tracked. There isn't tracking then once it gets international, unfortunately, with like USPS. It's a nightmare. We're working on DHL, and we do more DHL now, but we also are working on an international shipping hub. So we're going to have a separate distribution center in Europe. It's a bit of a logistic nightmare, but we're working on getting it set up. Thank you guys for my beautiful mug. So yeah, so likely it is in your country of origin, or probably likely in your customs. Maybe hit them up and ask if there's a package from you. I know sometimes it'll get stuck there. Like people have nightmare stories of getting stuck in customs for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks even. So yeah. Okay, but as far as effective in driving innovation in space, international cooperation or competition is definitely a great way to get things done. Like things get done really fast when there's a big driver like an international competition. But I think that's why the space race was so successful. But a lot of that was also there's just the motivation to do it as far financially. Like there was a big financial interest and a lot of money behind the space program then. So I think you can do the same thing and be very aggressive if you have funding. I don't think it necessarily like if we had a big gigantic cooperation and everyone was well funded, that's really and a common goal. Like if everyone's like, hey, we're really going to try to get to Mars by this date, and it is a cooperation thing. As long as the money's there, and if more money can be pooled together from a lot of nations to work on parts, I think that would actually be just as fast as competition, or pretty close. And maybe not be quite so willy-nilly. Yay, we're seeing some tank venting. Yay. Stuff. It's stuff. The stuff. All right, Andrew, do it. Well, actually, yeah, do it. We're venting. We're seeing actual venting. Let's do it. Ready? Watch this. Hands off. Venting, fueling, begin. I want it to work with my mind. Yes. See, you just gotta be really mentally strong to make things pop up on your screen. All right, Elmar. Yeah, even a stopped clock is right twice a day, unless it's a nin and a nin and a nim. Then it's never right, unfortunately. But yeah, we're getting somewhere. So I think, Andrew, let's push it back to 7:15 because I think it's going to be about then. Again, this is a very rough estimate just based on other fueling tests. It'll probably be closer to an hour, but for now we'll put 45 minutes-ish. Okay, I've got the permission to refresh. 1 second. All right. So again, very big-ish there. We don't know for sure. Our feed will come back in a second. All right. Thank you, Elmar. Mark, that's very true. Mark says, don't coo people. It's easy. That's very, very true. Yeah. Tech controls. Thanks for your continuing coverage, Tim. Just a quick curiosity question. Do you know if serial number 8 will transition into having no exterior components, COPV? I actually would expect that serial number 8 will start having things built inside it. So the COPVs inside. I don't think they're quite ready to do like homogeneous pressurization yet on something like serial number 8. That's where you can do a tap off from the engines to actually pressurize the vehicle. And also homogeneous too can do it where the liquid fuel and the liquid methane and the liquid oxygen actually boil off and pressurize each other somehow. I don't get it, but supposedly that's a thing. So I think we should see some of those things because I don't think they want to do like the 20-kilometer hop. That'll experience some pretty strong aero forces, and I don't think those COPVs on the outside would be a very good idea. I think it'll be a lot more refined vehicle for serial number 8. It'll be less looking total prototype, more of like that's actually a Starship-ish. A lot closer. Good question, Tech. Ezra Kelly, SpaceX just released a new YouTube video. Yeah. Sorry, I'm really late on these. Oh my gosh, I'm an hour behind. I better just do like a sprint through these. I'm really sorry. I don't want to be an hour behind on you guys' comments. So thank you so much, Ezra. Milawa says, sorry for the Brazilian money. Oh, but thanks for always supplying my addiction to seeing humans doing amazing things. You're absolutely welcome. Thank you so much. And cheers to Brazil. Thank you. Hernan Martinez says, how are your plans about getting a semi-permanent place in Florida? Do you need a timeshare to stay in Cocoa Beach? Thank you so much, Hernan. I have good friends that I stay with in Cocoa Beach, in Cape Canaveral. Mary Liz and Ryan from Cosmic Perspective, really good friends. I do still want to have I put it on hold because of the whole pandemic thing, but I definitely want to have property in Florida. But hopefully by the end of the year, we'll see. I want to have like a condo or someplace to just kind of keep stuff down there, not to transition everything all the time, not doing all this crazy stuff, make it easier to fly in and out of if necessary, and always have a place to stay, and potentially even like someday I want to have like an Airbnb or something. I think that'd be super fun. Roblox, thank you so much. Macho Taco, did you watch For All Mankind? The new season looks like it's going to be really cool. I did not know there's a new season of For All Mankind. Yeah, I did watch it. It was amazing. I did not realize there's another season coming out. Very cool. I'm very excited now. So thank you, Macho Taco. Accelerated Gun, thank you so much for the membership. Elmar, I've even found several different NASA shirts at Walmart. Of course, I live in Brevard County. So no, you're right. NASA shirts are at like Walmart and Brevard County has like an influx, I think, locally. But I think there's also NASA shirts at like Targets and stuff. I mean, they're becoming very popular, very cool. Sam Jones, SpaceX just released a video on spacesuits about 10 minutes ago. Yes, we watched it. Thank you so much, Sam. Again, sorry I'm so far behind. Danger No Smoking says, check out Isaac Arthur's channel. We are just starting with space exploration. That guy is great. Your and his channels are some of my favorites. I love, Isaac Arthur's channel and his content is phenomenal. Very, very good channel. Great research, great insights. Big fan. Yeah. Igor, hello from Serbia. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Igor. D, Tim, top 3 space movies and go. That's easy, actually. Top 3. I think still my number 1 favorite space movie probably has to be. Hang on. Oh, interesting. Okay, so top 3 space movies. I think my number 1 favorite space movie. It's actually hard between The Martian and Apollo 13. They're both like neck and neck for me for totally different reasons. But The Martian is just, even if you're not a space fan at all, The Martian is absolutely like hilarious, so well written. Again, sponsor me, Andy Weir. No, just kidding. I love Andy Weir's writing. He's just such a good author and so entertaining. And again, he does such a good job with kind of keeping it factual or like fact based, based in like science. So big fan of his stuff. But otherwise, yeah, Apollo 13 though, you can't go wrong. Incredible cast, incredible, Ron Howard film. He always does incredible work too. Oh man. Let's see. And what else is there? I think the next, oh man. I'm a pretty big fan of 2001 Space Odyssey. I normally don't love like far-fetched futurism or like futurism stuff. I like things to be really rooted in like kind of the current stuff. And it's not too far out there, but I'm just a big fan of Stanley Kubrick, so how can you not like that movie? I like Gravity is entertaining and beautiful, but it is one of the hardest films to watch if you're a science nerd. Like, constantly just going like, that's not how this works. Oh, the Chinese space station is on a totally different inclination. Like, it's just absolutely frustrating. But I do love it. It's still a great, entertaining movie. I would love to remake Gravity that was, like, more factual. Because, the whatchamacallit effect when everything starts blowing up, Kessler syndrome or whatever, is absolutely a huge, it's the perfect enemy for a space movie. It's absolutely the perfect, I just wish it was just more rooted in science. But there we go. Treon Film says, do you think NASA will land on the moon by 2024? I do not. I think it's a great goal, and if we're pushing for 2024, it makes 2026-ish, 2027 more of a reality. But things in spaceflight just take so long. Like I said earlier, it's like, for those of you that have been here for hours, because we're 2.5 hours into this stream. Spaceflight always basically double every metric. Anytime something is supposed to be this day, double it. It just never. There's always problems. It's very hard. I cannot believe the Apollo programs, landed on the moon before the end of the decade. That took a lot of money, a lot of resources, a lot of hard work. I just don't think we're there right now. If the funding goes back up and some big contracts, like we're seeing some cool stuff with the human lander systems, but those are really ambitious plans for 4 years. Then again, we did it in the Apollo program. So, Interstellar. How did I forget Interstellar? How did I forget Interstellar? How did I... Yeah, Interstellar, definitely top 3. Interstellar, top 3. Interstellar's number 3, though. Beautiful film. Will make you cry. So, yeah, it is stopped venting. Sorry, I'm talking with Andrew here. It stopped venting, and their window closes pretty soon. We'll keep it up, and I'll just keep reading your things, but it's probably, if their window closes today, shoot. Oh, look at all those birds. At least we can watch birds if something doesn't happen today. Again, this stuff is... Scrubs are part of all this stuff, so hang in there. All right, so thank you to Treon Films and Sleepin' Sexy. Thank you so much. It's for venting. Ian Gibson venting off to the side. We can't see. Look harder. Yeah. Thank you, Ian. Ion, go SpaceX, absolutely. Steve Williams, thank you for the informative videos, Tim. This is about Australian dollar one for every video I have watched. I really appreciate that, Steve. Dang. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you guys enjoy the long form videos, because that is definitely the long form stuff is when I learn a lot. That's what I really enjoy doing. So we do have until 8 p.m. So if they don't start fueling up, like I said, it takes about an hour. Andrew, go ahead and set the T0 for 8 o'clock. But let's stick around until the 8 o'clock window-ish. Oh, lots of venting. That looks like detanking even. That's definitely detanking. Go breathe that in. That is beautiful, fresh oxygen. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll keep tuning in here. That's definitely detanking. Because that's oxygen that's not going into the rocket. So go breathe that in. It'll be very cold and very nice. All right. So thank you again, Steve Williams. Everyone say hi and thank you to Steve Williams for the generous tip there. That is very, very, very nice. Thank you so much. That you guys are awesome. I really appreciate everyone that, hangs out here and learns together. That's what I absolutely love. Again, that's what I love about the long form videos is I can learn with you guys, learn new stuff from my own knowledge bank, and I just learned so much doing those long videos. So I know that some people will get frustrated because it takes so long to make them, but that's all that stuff is worth it because it makes this part of me smarter. And then when this part's smarter, it opens up new things to learn and talk about and put into other videos. And to me, that's what it's all about. It's like having that overall, trying to get a decent overall knowledge of spaceflight. And in doing that, the videos just get better and better. So, Andrew, let me know when we're ready to refresh. Okay, I think you did already. We are going to put it to 8 o'clock, but considering they're detanking, very likely, and people on Twitter are all talking about a scrub. So, yeah. That's awesome, guys, about Tori Bruno. That is so cool. Yeah, and sorry, Discord, love you guys. I bought some models from ULA because I right now have SpaceX from Ollie Braun, buzzspacemodels.com. That's buzzspacemodels.com. They're really, really nice, really high fidelity, very fragile and very breakable. It's been scary because I've had to move them like 3 or 4 times in the past 2 years. Terrifies me every time I touch them. But those are awesome. Those are incredible. I have a Rocket Lab Electron over here, and I don't have I need a high fidelity space shuttle. I need ULA's lineup. So I got Delta IV Heavy, got a Vulcan rocket, and an Atlas V as well. So, the RCS was firing. I missed that. Cool. So that it does have that cold gas thruster RCS. The black tank on the side of the vehicle is just compressed natural gas or nitrogen, not natural gas, compressed nitrogen, and it just goes out through a de Laval nozzle. It's just a cold gas thruster. Oh, that would be cool. An ISS model hung from the ceiling would be very cool. All right, so thank you again, Steve. Sackwist, I won't use Patreon. I have PayPal. Well, I think you can pay through Patreon on PayPal. I think, but the cool thing about Patreon is we can actually provide exclusive things to viewers. It's like an easy thing for creators to use because they have it set up so it does the automatic things like getting into Discord. It's all automated. It's just way easier for creators. So if you do want to support a creator or an artist or whatever, a content creator, whoever it is, Patreon is definitely probably one of the easiest ways. Memberships here on YouTube are very easy too. I'm still waiting for some integrations on the YouTube memberships. And then someone we need to probably look and see if we can finally do that. But yeah, you can pay through Patreon. You can pay through Patreon on PayPal or pay for Patreon using PayPal. Yeah. So yeah, good luck, Sackwist. But I really appreciate your tip. Going outside, thank you. Texas Patriot asking for someone in the chat. What exactly is SN5? Okay, so yeah, let's do a quick rundown here for those of you that still are not entirely familiar with what SN5 is. So let me give you the full rundown since we have nothing else to do. Starship serial number 5. and that's the SN stands for serial number. Before they used to do the Mark, MK1 and MK2 Mark serial, the nomenclature. So what this all is the developmental vehicles for SpaceX's upcoming rocket Starship. Starship is going to be a methane-powered rocket using full flow stage combustion cycle engines. If you have no idea what that means, look at my video. Just type in Raptor engine on YouTube, and you'll definitely find my video right away. Yeah, so definitely check that out. The Raptor video will teach you all about the things going on with the full flow stage combustion cycle and how rocket engines work in general. So, hey, look at that. We just got tomorrow chat up. But let me get into tomorrow hosts. That's awesome. Okay, so anyway, and it's made out of stainless steel. It's 9 meters wide. The whole thing altogether will be like almost 120 meters tall. So that's almost 400 feet tall, about 30 feet wide. This thing is massive. It'll be the size of a skyscraper. It'll have like 31 Raptor engines on the booster stage, 6 or 7 Raptor engines on what this is eventually going to be the upper stage. This is an upper stage test vehicle. So on screen you can see the different ones that they've tested. Grayed out means that it's gone. It's went boom boom or bye bye. So Starhopper was the first test vehicle that flew last year. Did 2 flights, a 20-meter hop and a 150-meter hop. The Mark 1 was what we saw at the 2019 Starship event. The Mark II is what was being built simultaneously to that in Florida. Still alive, still hanging out in Florida, doing nothing. Totally old school. You would not believe how much it's evolved as far as seeing these newer vehicles, how much more refined they look. Then we've seen a bunch of pressure test vehicles, kind of in between the Mark and serial numbers. We're seeing pressure test articles. Serial number 1 was a full scale, blew up. Serial number 2 was another test article where they're testing out that thrust puck that blew up or detached from the main tank, and it separated and the whole thing went flying. Serial number 3 was a testing error when one of the tanks depressurized, and the whole thing just fell over. So sounds good, Colton. We'll work on that tomorrow. Send me a DM on that if you can. Mark II is being torn apart and scrapped. Oh no, I didn't realize that. So Mark II is going to be coming down. It's unfinished, never got finished, and was now being scrapped. I did not realize that. Serial number 4 is what blew up on May 29th, like literally the day before the Dragon launch of DM2. That was when serial number 4 had that big explosion. And definitely, of course, we saw headlines like SpaceX loses rocket day before launching astronauts. Like, come on, guys. Totally different. These are so separated. That's like saying that, a Chevy test article, like a total, work mule that like they're using crashed, and now all like Chevy, I don't even know Chevy cars anymore. Now all Corvettes, C8 Corvettes are unsafe. They're unsafe now because they had a test article like blow up. Totally different things. So that's what serial number 5 is. It's serial number, and that's just kind of where it sits in the lineup and the lineage of the entire thing. So, yeah. Brian Clausen, have you read Mary Robinette Cowell, The Calculating Stars or The Faded Sky? No, I have not. She writes about Moon and Mars colonizing, uses NASA and science. That's awesome, Brian. I have not heard of that. I will definitely... I'll have to look for them on audiobook. I'm a big audiobook guy when I'm on long road trips. So, is article the best word? Probably not, but it is a test article. Like, that's kind of what they say. So yeah, thanks, Brian. I'll definitely look into that. That's very cool. Kevin Conrad, thanks for the membership. Noah Lucas, will you purchase a ride to space if you reach 10,000 Patreon supporters? Yeah, I have to. I told everyone I was going to do that. I thought it was a joke at the time. I thought there'd be no way we'd ever have 10,000 Patreon supporters. And now I'm like terrified because I'm going to have to buy a ride to space soon. Like at this pace, it'll happen in like 2 or 3 years. Genuinely scared. But, oh man. I'm like stressing out just honestly thinking about it. Thank you, Noah. Fred Hill, did you find out when they'll do the test firing? So unfortunately, yeah, like I said, it's likely scrubbed today. We are keeping our eyes on it, though. We'll see. Like I said, it's most likely scrubbed. We're still seeing detanking. So unless right at 7 o'clock, if we would see venting, as in they're repressing the tanks, not this detanking, but the actual venting and condensation around the LOX farm. If that would happen around 7, they might be going for one more time. But for now, it's definitely looking like they have detanked, which they normally only do when they're done for the day. And like I said, they only have a window until about 8 o'clock. So thank you, Noah. And Fred Hill, yeah, sorry, that's we don't know, unfortunately. Reed Bowman, can we get a T-minus none shirt to commemorate how long wait times on streams? That's not a bad idea, because I feel like that's just rockets. Like, that should just be what it's like anyway for anything space fire related. Like, when's it going to happen? Nanum. Like, nanum. Nanu. Like, it's, nobody knows. Nanum. I love it, though. Apex. Let's see here. Apex Tyrannus. If Mars and Moon colonists undergo 1G centrifuge therapy once a week or so, they should be able to come back to Earth with little problem. That's a good idea. Yeah. They could do, like, yeah, that's awesome. Centrifugal therapy. I never really even thought about that. That's a really good idea. And also, on the way to the Moon and the way to Mars and stuff like that, we can spin up and do artificial gravity on the ships. That's not we, as in like, but like humans can do that as an option. You can slowly increase your rotation gradually to slowly bring on gravity. There's still that great idea, of course, about tethering starships together using a long tether, some kind of mechanism. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see that someday. But that's neither here or there. Like, we're kind of, the Starship program is developing one step at a time. They have a lot of ambitious things to do. And eventually, they could definitely do that someday. All right. Very good call, Apex. Nigel says, "Hey Tim, I'm very excited for the hop test, but must admit seeing the first super heavy test fire is going to be my personal highlight. Seeing dozens, it'll probably be at least 24 engines, Raptor engines fire for the first super heavy, like full blown all of static fire will be so incredibly bonkers. I cannot even imagine." Oh, yeah, you're right. But I still think the 20-kilometer hop will be more insane. Like, I think watching this thing go up to 20 kilometers, so that's about twice as high as like an airliner, right? When you see planes up in the sky. Now imagine this going twice that high, flipping over horizontally and falling out of the sky belly first like a skydiver, and then literally last second doing a turn and burn maneuver. Someone had a really good Starship landing animation recently. Starship landing animation. Whose was that? I forget. There's a really, really good one I saw on Reddit, I think. Well, actually, I shared that one on Twitter. That was really cool. That one really impressed me. Let me see if I can find it again. I want to show you guys because it is such a wild thing. Media, let's go here. Let us go here. Oh, here we go. Okay, let me pull this thing up here. This is phenomenal. This is from a Reddit user. This was from Shay Lavy 4 on Twitter /Shay Lavy 4 or Shay Lavy on Reddit posted this, and it's just absolutely awesome. Look at this. So this is sped up 3 times. This is coming from orbital speed. But this is what the last 20 kilometers will kind of look like. If you go straight up 20 kilometers, it's basically going to fall flat like a skydiver. So right now you can see it's kind of falling flat-ish, and it uses those fins to perfectly articulate and remain in balance and in control, and also point itself because it can change its amount of lift and drag and actually change its trajectory and target it. And this is a really, really, really well done thing, all programmed in Kerbal. Very impressive stuff. And then check this out, right at the last second. So I think it goes from 3 times speed. You can see the drone ship down there at the bottom. It goes from 3 times speed down to regular time here. A little bit choppy, just frame rate. But look at that. So the back fins tuck in. The upper fins go. They light the engines. And it's going to do that crazy rocking back and forth thing and then land. I mean, that is going to be the most properly ludicrous thing I think anyone will witness. And I have to see that with my eyes. If that happens, if the 20-kilometer hop happens while there's restrictions for traveling and stuff, I'm going to be so So heartbroken. Because I have to see that. I absolutely have to see that. That's going to be very, very, very cool. So yeah, Nigel, I'm with you. There's a lot of exciting things to see, and you're absolutely right. So thank you very much. Lucian says, could Titan Dragonfly launch on Starship Chomper? Of course, they could use well, I mean, theoretically, of course, but I think that probably, unless Starship has flown dozens and dozens of times and got certification for a mission like that, because that is going to be a flagship NASA mission. For those who don't know, there's a quadcopter that's eventually going to head to Titan, which is Saturn's biggest moon, or is it Jupiter's? Saturn's biggest moon, I think. So it's going to go there, fly around. Titan's atmosphere is so thick, it takes very little power. It has low gravity. It's about the same amount of gravity as the moon. So it's really easy to fly around aerodynamically. Like, you could fly for hours on very, very, very little battery power, or way easier flying there than here. So it'd be super, super cool to see. And that is one of the next missions, one of the big flagship missions that's, I think, is currently scheduled to take off way later in the 2020s. Isn't it like 2028 or 2030? It's a long ways away. So it'll need to fly on a very reliable rocket. Like, that has to be a rocket that has flown many times when it's a flagship $1 billion mission, basically. Yeah, so sorry, I'm still looking, just in case they're still going for it, but it does look like there's still, like, the same thing from, I can't tell if that's detanking now or just regular venting, but Dragonfly theoretically could launch on the Starship Chompers, the Chomper being the cargo version, where the top doors just open up, and it just is a closable fairing that opens up like the chomping mouth of an alligator. Then what they do is put a kick stage on that. For interplanetary missions, a kick stage makes the most sense, most likely. Unless they really can get it to be cheaper, the whole Starship, make a disposable version that is cheaper than a bespoke one-off kick stage. And there is a small chance that it'd be cheaper to just have, a stripped-down Starship with just vacuum engines on it, and have, if those engines are only $1 million, and if they're mass-produced, they might only be $1 million. So you have 3 of those. You have a couple million in the upper stage. I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 million or something. But some of those kick stages and stuff are expensive. So I'm guessing it'd still be much cheaper to have a small kick stage to shoot it out there. But that would be how it would have to do it. And I'm still working on part 2 of Starship versus SLS, but it's really turned more into Artemis versus Apollo, talking about the funding schemes and SLS in general. Part 3 is going to be like, could we replace SLS with any commercial options? Like, what are our commercial options? If SLS got canceled tomorrow, how could we actually get to the moon? Like, what are our options? How Kerbal can we get with, like, kick stages on top of things and stuff like that? And we'd break it all the way down. I already have that stuff broken down. It's just a matter of reshooting it, because we had a lot of changes happen when they announced the HLS stuff. And I even had it all edited. It was a 75-minute long video, and I had to break it down. So, yeah. So, Lucian, yep, it could, but I probably won't. But who knows? Controlled Chaos. I want to replace my B suit with a SpaceX suit. Should work. Yeah, that would be awesome. That'd be very cool. Thank you, Controlled Chaos. David Willis, let's light this candle. Unfortunately, not today, probably. But thanks, David. How are you doing? Austin Berger, for your reaction to missing it, considered an acting career? Oh, yeah. I know you guys were very impressed. Oh, no. Whoa. Someone. Look out over there. I missed it. Help me. Send this guy an Oscar, right? I missed a SpaceX drone flying near Serial Number 5. Well, now that I might have missed. But obviously that's not up in the air anymore. It might have just been them testing out, making sure the vehicle's ready for flight. Shoot. Ethan Dog, shout out from Des Moines. Sweet. Thanks for fueling my newfound rocket space interest. You're welcome, fellow Iowan. Thank you for saying hi. Awesome. Hope you're holding it down and being safe. And yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Ethan. Mike says hi from Urbandale. Another, wow, 2 Iowans back to back. This is awesome. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate the feed at Space Padre Isle. Yes. So again, we need to say another quick thank you to the people running the camera. They're doing just an awesome job. It's really windy out there, so sorry for the shakiness. But they're also on a very long lens. They're outside of the exclusion zone. This is Rachel and Jean at Space Padre Island. Find them on Twitter, please. Right top left part of your screen, you'll see Space Padre Island. Show them some love. Tell them hi. Tell them Tim sent you. And yeah, they're running this camera, and we owe them just a huge thank you for their hard work. Super, super cool. Yeah. So thank you, Mike, and hello, fellow women. EAJ Cuber, watched your video on the Aerospike engine. What do you think that someone hasn't launched a small rocket with it? Or why do you think someone hasn't launched a small rocket to see if it works? Love your channel, Tim. Greetings from Norway. It's 1:25 a.m. Dang. I don't know. It's just Aerospikes are the pros are just so barely worth it that it's not worth the development. You know what I mean? Like, they're just so, I don't know. I'm heartbroken though, because I think they're so cool. They are just one of the coolest things ever. I think they look like a V8, especially a linear Aerospike like this looks like a V8 or something, an old school, you know, like Big Block or something. It looks super cool. But yeah, or like an LS or something. It just gives me a good feeling. It's a cool engine. But I don't know. It's just not worth developing when two-stage vehicles work great. Staging is we have that stuff figured out pretty much, you know. So, and you gain more efficiency by just having two stages by a lot of. It's just basically it's not worth it. It's just, and I need to do an updated video about single stage to orbit vehicles and why I don't think we'll ever see one, or if we will ever see one, I guess. Hey, that's venting up at the top. That's that vent. Interesting. Interesting. All right, Texas Patriot, what's wrong with UPS? Glares. Nothing's wrong with UPS. UPS is great. We ship stuff UPS. It's just UPS, USPS. Seems like the tracking gets very confusing, and it can get very expensive right now for international shipping. International shipping is very, very expensive. That's why we're looking into distribution centers in Europe to help make up for that, because, yeah. David Meese, Tim, with NASA might slow to progress of crewed flight of a Starship launch, do you think Elon might have to launch a Starship without crew and meeting a Crew Dragon in Leo? Yes, I do actually think that might be, without an abort system, I do think that'll be, at least for the early Starship flights that have people, including like Deer Moon. I wouldn't be surprised if Deer Moon ends up being basically two Dragon capsules on a Falcon 9, two different flights, rendezvousing, meeting up with Starship. Everyone gets on Starship then, and then they do their TLI once with a fully fueled Starship ready to go, waiting in orbit for them, because it'll take, you know, multiple reflights to refuel to get it out to the moon. Yeah, I do think, but I don't think that's anything for NASA. I don't think. Yeah, I think that's just the way it's going to work, frankly, because I don't think anyone's too excited about getting onto a rocket without an abort system anytime soon. So, yeah. Yes, Shem, Jerry, they have definitely done many, many, many dusk and night tests. The first Starhopper hop was at night. They're not as fun. I really enjoy daytime ones, because at night the camera's exposures just get totally out of whack between sunlight and the bright engine. So we're officially at T-minus 1 hour. So if we don't, we're within the last hour of the window. So if we don't see some actual venting in progress on the vehicle, they're going to have to call it, because it takes about an hour from the beginning to the end. So, okay. But we'll stay here for the next like 20 or 30 minutes anyway, just in case. But if it gets like 7:30 and there's nothing happening on the vehicle, it's not happening tonight. All right. So good question, David. I do think that's kind of going to be what we end up seeing. Derek, they could do that competitionless program with lots of money and name it SLS. Hey, you're right. You're right. Sometimes just throwing money at a problem isn't always the way to do it. You're absolutely right. But yeah, I don't know. SLS also never really had a mission. Like, there wasn't really it's like, we're building it, we don't know why. And I'm glad to see now with the Artemis program actually formalizing, like, there's actually a reason to build it, and it actually is starting to make sense. And now we're actually seeing progress on it. Oh, weird. So I think you got to have a reason. So, yeah, That's awesome, though. But good call, Derek. Good call. Nick James, thank you so much. I love you too, man. Thank you for hanging out. Henning, congrats on your new ULA models, Tim. Look up Twitter. I know, actually, Discord is showing us that. And I actually purchased all 3 models like 3 or 4 nights ago. And then I guess ULA is now working on just sending me some or something. I don't know. I already paid for them, so I'm happy to pay for them. I think that's what a person that makes money on this and has it in the set of their studio, like, they should probably pay for them. But yeah, I'm happy to do that. I'm just really excited if some of the teams at ULA signs it. That'd just mean a lot to me, especially Tori and some of the people that we're more familiar with, and that'd be awesome. So I can't wait. You'll see him in the studio, and I'm going to be. There's still a lot more stuff changing in the studio, so like I said, you'll see more and more stuff happen in the next couple months. So, yeah. Jack Lee says, I felt the same way watching Ad Astra. There's a weightless fight scene when the rocket is accelerating. I cringed so hard. I have not seen Ad Astra. I heard really bad things about it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just nervous I'll just facepalm the entire time. But let's see. Cool. Yeah. All right. Just catching up on you guys, making sure you guys are good. And again, Discord, I love you guys. I should mention one more time, if you guys want an awesome space community to be a part of, people to talk to literally anytime, because we have people from all around the world. So there's people in there constantly talking about space. But if you have questions, we have a really friendly community that can help answer questions together. We're all learning together. If you want to help script and research or learn like some of the behind the scenes of how I'm making videos, consider becoming a Patreon supporter. Go to patreon.com/everydayastronaut. Where you can gain access to, like I said, extra live streams. You can gain access to our Discord channel. It just helps me continue to do what I do, make better videos. The last video we shot, we're shooting in 6K now. It's still, we're putting it up on YouTube in 4K, but what that allows us to do is punch in, get really clean. We didn't even end up punching into 100% because it just looks so good. So that's all, of course, thanks to my Patreon supporters. So if you guys want to help me do what I do, continue to try to make better and more content, and now that the team's growing, that's becoming more and more of a thing. Again, patreon.com/everydayastronaut. It really means the world to me. So thank you guys. Chops Tube, thank you so much. And Chops Tube again, send Max to space. I don't know who Max is, but let's send him there if he wants to go. But let's not make anyone go to space without their goodwill, without them wanting to do so. We're not going to force anyone to go to space. But yeah, Max, go to space. EAJ Cuber, watch your video on the Aerospike engine. What do you think? Oh, yeah, we answered that. Sorry, I missed that earlier. I got to it a little earlier, EAJ, but it was probably a long time. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why, and I would love to see an Aerospike fly someday. Even if not on an Aerospike would be awesome on Venus. An Aerospike might be the only engine that would even like function on Venus, basically. So if we ever try to do anything of like a Venusian return flight would be almost impossible, I think. To send anything from the surface of Venus to back home would be like, I think, almost impossible. But if you did, you'd have to use some Aerospike engines. I guarantee that. I absolutely guarantee that. All right. Mr. Musk. Let's see here. Mr. Musk, where was that? Rat. Mr. Muskrat. I'm not seeing any dense serial. Number 5 might still be pressed. We do not think it is. We do not think it is. But you're right. It does look awfully shiny. It could be just lighting. Conditions have changed. Hendrik Harold Koenig, thank you so much for your membership. Jack Land, you said it from Iowa, live in Ankeny. Hey, fellow Iowan. Yep, I am up in Northeast Iowa. So, hi. That's awesome. Always have been. I travel a lot, and a lot of people think I live in Florida, but I'm just down there a lot. So, yeah. And Anthony says hello from Northern Ireland, Belfast. It's 1 a.m. here. 1 a.m. here. Keep up the good work, man. You Europeans stay up late. I love it. Jack Land. Oh wait, sorry. Oh, another one from Jack Land. Thank you again. I am from Iowa. Thank you so much. Kenneth Warner just joined the Patreon and Discord. For me, space as a concept was gone when the shuttle came apart over my house. Wow. Thanks for bringing the magic back, Kenneth. That's absolutely wild. Yeah, that was hard. Both losses of the shuttle were just absolutely damaging, rippling, even just for the human spirit, just to see something that we thought was so safe and routine, to see it just come apart was just had to. Like, I was too young to really appreciate. Definitely didn't know anything about Challenger, until later years. And I do actually remember Columbia breaking apart. I was in high school, and I remember seeing the headline on a newspaper on the wall. That's how old I am. That's wild to think about. I learned about Columbia disaster because of a newspaper. Not too many people are going to say that about current spaceflight stuff, especially not at their school. John Moore, any idea what is behind all the delays on serial number 5? The ship itself or ground support equipment? Are they having more problems than they are letting on? This is a development vehicle. We know almost nothing of what's going on behind the scenes, and they've done a lot of rebuilding of things, and they don't want to blow it all up. Obviously they had problems with the umbilicals on serial number 4, and it led to 2 months of delay basically now. So the delays are probably just part of the stuff. I don't know. Like, I think they're just, playing it cautiously and not wanting to blow anything up anymore. I think they're getting sick of blowing stuff up. So they're just taking some extra precautions, and they've been rebuilding a lot of stuff. They've been building and hammering on things constantly. If you guys aren't watching NASA Spaceflight's videos, they do such a good job of just showing us what's going on every single day. So, yeah. Andrew, is there any chance we could get a likely or a scrubbed thing up on the overlay? It might be time to officially call it, because they're going to run out of their window, and from what I'm hearing, it definitely seems like they're scrubbed. But and it sounds like Rachel and Gene are saying there is rain approaching soon, so I'm going to try to let them out of here soon. Okay. Yeah. So, good question though, John. It's just the developmental pace and just all the little things. David S. Joe is going to be disappointed that you didn't get the Space Camp references. Send Max to space. Oh, see, I still haven't seen Space Camp. Yes, Joe is already probably crying. Thank you for thinking of Joe and the rest of our Ludicrous Future podcast. That's awesome. Eric Huff, watch Ad Astra. There may be a few physics issues like all sci-fi movies, but the visuals are stunning and the storyline is emotionally deep and meaningful. One of my all-time favorite movies. Really? Keep it good. Okay, I'll watch it. I just remember hearing a bunch of things about cringy physics, and for some reason I just thought it was going to be like kind of another Gravity, but I'll definitely watch it. Johnny Boy 93, hello from Sweden. Love your channel. Awesome work. Question. And thanks again, Eric, by the way. That was a very generous tip. Question from Johnny Boy. Would it not be beneficial to have an aerospike on the first stage on a staged vehicle? It would make obviously a lot more sense for a staged rocket, or the first stage, which goes through basically the entire regime of our atmosphere from sea level to the vacuum of space. Yeah, absolutely. An aerospike would have some advantages, but it might have more disadvantages than even forget the cost and development. They often weigh a lot more. So your first stage can really, even if it's less efficient, efficiency isn't everything. Efficiency matters, but thrust to weight ratio actually matters an awful lot, because if you're able to carry more fuel, basically, you can fight. There's basically something called gravity drag or gravity loss. So the slower you crawl off the pad, the less efficient your rocket is. So even if you had a more efficient engine, but it was slower and couldn't lift as much, lift the rocket as much, or it has, it's a bigger engine, so the engine's carrying more dry mass, it's carrying more dead weight, that might negate the efficiency difference. So, but it would, the first stage is where an aerospike really shines, because up in space, a bell nozzle makes just as much, it's way more simple and can achieve the exact same, if not slightly better efficiency than an aerospike engine. So, yeah, good question. But it's probably just not worth it, which is why they are not used really. But something like Starship point to point, though, ironically, would probably be a really, really good time to use an aerospike. So it'd be awesome if they, for some reason, ended up doing an aerospike Raptor engine for point to point. And I know I asked Elon Musk about that when I interviewed him in September last year at the Starship event. I said, okay, aerospikes. And a lot of people were actually mad at me, like, why are you You're just pitching a thing for a video, Tim. It's like, no, I want to hear the guy think. I want to get into his brain and understand, see him have to turn those gears, watch him tell me the engineering decisions, and just open up a totally different dialogue. Because everything else, every other interview, anytime we ask about Starship, it changes in 2 weeks. So that information is no longer valid. No one will care, right? But talking about something like that, where you get to see an engineer, someone as brilliant as Elon, going through those decisions, that was awesome. To me, that was like, you get to see him going through the process with us. And to me, that's like one of the coolest parts of that whole interview is just seeing him think about and go over some engineering decisions. And then you really understand that, yeah, they've thought about all this stuff. You know, they think about all of these little things. So, okay, hang on, we got one more refresh here we're likely scrubbed. So, yeah, likely scrubbed. Very likely scrubbed. So, yep. But yeah, good question, Johnny Boy. Rodney Page, thank you for the membership. Jamie Cole, I'm working on the smallest orbital rocket with called Fusion. That would be awesome. I definitely. Yeah, I definitely think that sounds like a lot of fun. I would personally love to see the smallest orbital rocket. I'd love to have that be a new competition. How tiny can we get a rocket? Because the funny thing about rockets is you gain some efficiency in volume. So especially with like the tankage, some parts just don't really shrink. And not only that, but the tank, when you double the diameter of a tank, you actually the volume goes up by the cube of that doubling of the diameter, and the actual surface area only goes up by the square. So you only end up with like twice as much skin, basically twice as much fuselage, but 3 times as much fuel. Or, well, not times, it's cubed, so 4 times as much fuel. Yeah. So that would be, it'd actually be a really big challenge to make a tiny rocket. Like in some senses, this whole Starship idea of like, just make huge rockets and we'll just build them out in a field and we'll just make them like maybe in some ways less efficient, but like we'll just make them so big it doesn't matter. Hence them doing 150 tons. Like, yeah. Kevin says, what WTF 3 hours wasted? Yeah. Welcome to spaceflight, man. We're just here watching. It's not time wasted if we're at least like learning and talking and hanging out. I can't help that they scrubbed. We have no idea. This is a very developmental rocket. If you're not familiar with why this is hard, I've got some videos for you again. You can check out my video about the SLS versus Starship video. Really gives you a rundown on like why this is so different from a normal rocket program. Again, they've blown up more Starships in this year than SLS has even managed to be fueled. It's not even. It's been sitting on the test stand. Well, granted, COVID slowed some things down, but it's been down there for like almost the entire year, and it hasn't really done anything. So that just shows how wildly different these programs are. Absolutely wildly different. Yeah, so I'm sorry that you feel like your time was wasted, but I feel like it wasn't. It's still fun to hang out and be talking about cool stuff. So yeah, I know it sucks. We're definitely not looking like it's going to be in this window. So I'm going to let Rachel and Gene go here in about 5 minutes once we know for sure. Yeah, scrubs are cheaper than booms, or scrubs are cheaper than ruds. Absolutely. And I'm going to need some food here soon. Okay, so of course I still have in Discord says, you know how Starbucks did like a liquid nitrogen coffee thing? Hear me out. Liquid oxygen coffee. That would probably, yeah, absolutely explode, because liquid oxygen coming in contact, pure oxygen coming in contact with like any organic material just does nutty things. So, and it would absolutely freeze the coffee instantly. But, so basically, guys, we don't really know. We don't have any updates on timelines. We'll look for the road closure tomorrow. We're really hoping it is tomorrow. But yeah, let me check in on the internet, see if Elon said anything. Let me see if we can get an official answer from him. Okay, we'll see if we can get an official answer. Oh, the road's even closed? If the road's closed, then yeah, likely tomorrow is the next attempt. Okay. If there's a vehicle moving in... Okay. I'm actually going to delete the live stream. Or not the live stream. Delete my request to Elon not to bug him, since it's pretty obvious. Oopsies, not that. Undo retweet and retweet with comment. Scrubbed. All right, guys. I'm gonna let Rachel and Gene get out of here. So, everyone, one more time, send a big thank you to Rachel and Gene. Find them on Twitter. Again, at the top left part of my screen, you'll see at Space Padre Island. Send them some love. I'll take care of them. Yeah, supposedly there's vehicles moving towards the road, but we do need to get Rachel and Gene out there. But yeah, everyone say thank you, Rachel and Gene. You guys are awesome. Really, really, really appreciate all their hard work. But yeah, I'm going to let them sign out here so that I can sign off too, and I can get some food. But yeah, tune in tomorrow. Hopefully we'll have an attempt. And yeah, that will be awesome. Something to come together and cheer for it. And thank you guys for hanging out with me. It really means a lot. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions on Twitter and stuff. Be sure and watch my Curiosity versus Perseverance video. I promise it's actually, I think it's one of my favorite videos. We've made a lot of really good improvements to the videos. Andrew's doing an awesome job helping with the editing now, or primarily editing now. And they're really, really looking good. So check that video out. Help the YouTube algorithm like it so that when they do launch, hopefully on Thursday morning, it's well seated inside the YouTube algorithm, and it gets a lot of organic attention. That would really mean a lot to me. So watch it all the way through. Let me know your thoughts. That'd be awesome. So yeah, look for that, and hopefully we'll see you guys again here tomorrow. But I think that's going to do it for me. Thank you, Graham, last minute. I appreciate that tip. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I'm Tim. What's my sign up? I'm Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, bringing space down to Earth for everyday people. All right, bye, everybody. Thanks for hanging out.